Okay. Oh, wait, no, it's not. How do I get that off of the screen? That's not what I'm trying to do. Wait, what? I'm trying to do this live and all types of new things are popping up on the screen. So, for the sake of YouTube, the background music is not my choice, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I wanted to jump on here. I'm very tired physically, but hey, Andrew, good to see you, family. I wanted to speak about perseverance. I'm extremely grateful for the strength that I have. And you guys don't forget to like the video coming in. Hit that like button. First, I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Hay. I will be getting back to the investigative lives, but right now I'm dealing with life, in real time. And I want to thank everybody for your prayers and positive energy. You know, as I'm navigating through this medical journey, so many things have been revealed. And I was talking about this on my TikTok live last night because the theme continues to be love. That's always at the forefront of everybody's mind, questions and asking for clarity and all of that. But what I've seen in my premonitions is love and money. So it's new beginnings that are being preceded by endings. And I've seen angel number 999 every day this week. Some days multiple times a week. And I was showing them on TikTok my angel number journal. And the meaning of angel number 999, which is endings leading to new beginnings. And so just a lot of things have been revealed this week. A whole lot. And honestly, y'all, a lot of it has been very painful. I can't even act like it hasn't been, especially today. You know, one thing my second mom, and I love her dearly, Nancy West's mom, one thing she said to me, she said, baby girl, when you are going through your hardest times is when you find out who people really are. And I'll never forget when she told me that earlier this year. And that was around the time a lot of transitions started happening surrounding my medical, as I shared with y'all on live when I was hospitalized for the colorectal condition. I don't see no likes popping up on the screen. Now, I know I haven't been on YouTube a lot, but y'all can at least like the video coming in. And no, I'm not coming on camera because I'm tired. I'm extremely tired. It's been a very long day. But I'll never forget when she told me that. And so now it's been revealed. You know, it's been revealed without a doubt. And I'm grateful for the people who have shown support. I'm grateful for those who have sent prayers. I'm grateful for those who, whether in the past or now, have sent donations. For me, it's not really about any of that. It is the hearts of people being revealed. And My prayer last month, I asked the Most High God and my ancestors, I said, I need y'all to reveal to me deception. In fact, that's been my prayer all year since the beginning of the year. Because a lot of people that I have called family and friends and loved ones, as I've been navigating through the medical part of my journey, I've seen so many people's true colors. And what's the word I want to use? My tolerance. That's the best word. My tolerance for, um, inconsistency, my tolerance for those who are um, not loyal. Say it that way. Instead of getting upset, I've just learned to release people. And a lot of times when I have released people, it's silently. As a Scorpio, that's what we do anyway. The only time I let a person know is if I really care about you. I will let you know, hey, such and such that you said or did changed the way I look at you, changed the way that I feel. Doesn't mean I hate you. Thank you, Andrew, for hitting the light. Um, but just so many different things. And this past week, especially, I've seen a lot in people who I have known for over 10 years. And I'm talking about right here in Houston, not to mention, back home. And the way that people lie, make excuses, avoid, ignore, betray, judge, those are all reflections of the unhealed parts of them. And I had to get to a place of peace that no matter what my circumstance looks like, that I am not going to allow other people's unhealed energy to alter the way that I feel about my journey. Because it's very, I've realized I can tell a person what this condition is like, these conditions that I need to have surgery for. But the reality is, until a person has actually experienced your life and walked in your shoes, they will never understand. And that alone is the painful part, knowing that they don't have the capability to understand. So it's very easy for a person on the outside looking in to have a very negative perspective. Like I said, even one of, because I did part ways with that particular business associate, even the way that he tried to handle me and the narcissistic projections. When you hold a person accountable for their behavior, and as a Scorpio, I'm gonna call you out, especially if you done did the shit multiple times. Like, I may not say nothing the first, second time, but at that third time, I'm gonna let you know, hey, this is not cool. I'm gonna set that boundary and address the situation. And even that, when that person, people, when they hear about your situation and you open up to them and you confide in them and you tell them, what you're going through, and then they try to use that as leverage to manipulate, to take advantage, to project expectations. And my thing is, anyone that would want me to deal with them on a physical or romantic level, if you can know what my circumstance is and not offer support, and I'm talking like just checking up, hey D, how's your health? How are things going? What did the doctor say? When's your surgery? Like, these are all things I think about from these different narcissistic people that I've had to release, including the father of my Mother's Day baby, because he tried, as usual, to get me to break my celibacy. on Mother's Day, the day I was grieving. And while I understand, you know, baby mamas and baby dads have connections, in my mind, it's also like the audacity, because when I need the emotional support of, I just need you to be there, not for sex, not for anything physical, not for anything romantic, just as my friend, be there. And for that interest to be more on the physical when I am celibate by choice. And then, in all honesty, going through this, I don't like, it's hard to feel sexy when you're dealing with multiple colorectal conditions. It just is. And I looked at that situation. I said, I've known this person for almost 15 years. And we know each other's families. We, shared life, maintained friendships, but it just was like the people that know, especially these different men that keep trying to talk to me, date, try to get me to fuck, all of that bullshit. It's like, how can you know what my medical situation is? And mind you, yes, I'm speaking healing over it, but I still need to have the surgery done. And for them to know that and still keep only pursuing something physical are reflections of the unhealed parts of them. And then you wonder why I don't want you. You wonder why I reject you. You wonder why I don't want to fuck with you. Because your only interest is to make a connection with me, a high vibrational high priestess, when you are in a lower realm. The business associate did the same exact thing. There's came to a point where he expressed romantic interest, and I honestly was considering it. And then I was like, let me watch him. Let me just observe this person's behavior. And it didn't take long for the narcissistic traits to present themselves that I was already feeling as an empath. And if I address you about your behavior that's inappropriate and your response is to become hostile, unprofessional, and an asshole, of course I'm going to cut you off. And I know he wasn't expecting that because of all the support and promoting and all of that. And other affiliated associates followed suit with that low frequency, and it came to me this evening that was God's protection. Because this person offered me a home in another state, and when they sent me the photos, it looked like a trap house. I'm like, ain't no fucking way I'm about to move from Houston to a whole nother state and stay in a house that was previously rented by meth heads and actually go and live there by myself. Like, fuck no. That's no different from when Jaguar offered the quote unquote safe house that turned out to end up being Yellow Beezy's house, who is in Jaya right now. So I look at all these different things. People think, okay, she's in a vulnerable position. Let me see if I can get in where I fit. And Andrew, thank you, my love. I'm okay. I'm just very tired. It's been an extremely long day. And I looked at all of that. I looked at other men who have been like, D, I want to help you. And then they always want something in return. Same thing with so-called friends. And I can't even really call them friends anymore. They're more former associates. People that lie. And here's what I've never, ever understood. I'm an empath, clairvoyant, psychic medium. I don't know why people think they can lie to me. I'm a human lie detector. And my gifts are very real. And the more you try to hide energy, the louder it silently speaks to me. And the amount of lies that have been brought to my attention that I have actually discovered myself, I just got to a point where, why even address this? access denied. I just cut people off because you knew exactly what you were doing when you did what you did. And I've had to say to multiple people, even if you can't imagine what it's like to go through this, just try to. Um, but to take advantage of, to exploit, especially the exploitation part of it, to do all of that. And then when your energy comes back around to you, then you want to apologize, you want to reconnect. I'm sorry, dee whoop dee woo. And my thing is this: the best apology is change behavior. Apologizing and doing the same thing over and over and over is you just repeating a cycle. You're not actually sorry. You're sorry that you lost access. You're sorry that you got caught. You're sorry that I called you out on your shit, but you're not actually sorry for what you did. Because when people are actually remorseful, they change their behavior. And the people that I've called friends, I have definitely saw in this past weekend, especially these past 2 days, that there is less than a handful of people that actually do care. And I'm grateful for those people that do. There are other people who are not going through anything close to what my body is putting me through and have an expectation of me to feel sorry for them, to listen to their problems. And I've had to explain to so-called friends as well as relatives about how serious this condition is. I guess the fact that I've been hospitalized and in and out the ER isn't enough for them to take it serious. People say things like, oh, just go work, just go get a job, just go do this, just go do that. And rectal prolapse is something that my uncle dealt with, my uncle that died from COVID that helped raise me, as well as my maternal grandmother. So this is something that tends, I guess, runs in our family. And my mom had told me that my uncle ended up having to have 2 surgeries. And that's what my surgeon spoke to me about at my last appointment last Friday. Not this past Friday, but the Friday before. And he's like, we really don't want to have to do 2 surgeries. We want to see if this first procedure will hopefully correct everything. But if not, we may have to go back in and do a second surgery. And it's incredibly painful. It is very painful dealing with this. Not to mention the blood loss and just the overall grossness, because I'm very OCD in general, especially when it comes to my body. And when I'm going through, the episodes of bleeding and my bowels and all of that, I always think to myself, these are the things these people cannot see, who have and are saying and doing negative things. Those who have called me lazy, those who have talked shit when I've reached out specifically within my so-called family. I don't really call them family, I call them relatives. Because family is there for you unconditionally. Relatives don't give a shit. So when I've explained this, when I've, reached out, which I've needed help more lately because of the severity of how this condition has progressed because of the constant moving around and lifting and carrying heavy things. I explained all of that. And as I was speaking with different agencies and things this week, they said, have you explained to your family how serious this condition is? I said, absolutely. I've even called them when I was in the hospital. I mean, it's not like they don't know. They just don't care. So when I've spoken with my second mom, Elissa's mom, my stepsister, um, my cousin-in-law, I still call her my cousin-in-law, even though technically her and my cousin have been divorced for years. When I speak to them, they're very concerned. You know, they're like, that's horrible. They're as supportive as they can be. But then the people I grew up in the same household with, who I've helped over and over and over, for them to be the ones saying and doing negative things, avoiding, like, having to explain this to people, it's very honestly painful, especially when it comes to agencies that are trying to help, you know. Um, and they'll ask me, okay, how did this happen? How did you end up in this situation? What's going on with your health? When's your surgery? Where's your family? You know, where's your support system? And I realized the reality is that the people that I expected to be supportive are not, but the people that I did not expect to be supportive are. The people I least expected to be supportive have been. And even in that, people can only help so much. They can only do so much. So I said, Lord, how much longer am I to walk this journey? Because again, I was shown all of this in heaven in 2008. Literally everything that's happened, I was shown. And I said, I know that this is the tough part of the Monopoly board that you guys showed me of my life. And I know that I just have to persevere through this. You know, just keep moving forward, keep persevering, and all of my blessings are going to come. The healing, the new career, the financial wealth, the completely healed body, the love, the new soul family friendships, you know, all of that is coming. And what I also had to realize is their lack of belief about my situation improving. Okay, this is getting on my nerves, the freaking notifications. So let's just put this right on Do Not Disturb, because that is incredibly annoying. The lack of support and their lack of faith. You know, people speaking lack over my life, people speaking that things are not going to get better or things are not getting better. That's because you lack faith. And at the end of the day, this is literally my life. I'm the one that lives in this body. I'm the one that experiences what this avatar does. And I constantly am in prayer and speaking healing. That's also why I've been more focused on my healing, which is what I told Jonathan Hay tonight on Instagram. Because he's been sending me updates about his case against Diddy and the things going on, and I'm continuing to pray for him and his wife and his family. And, you know, I definitely want to aid in his healing from the traumas that he's been through. And I was telling him, I said, I definitely plan on getting back to the investigative research lives. I'm going to cover his case, you know, everything that's going on with that. But right now, my biggest focus is healing, especially because of what I'm going through. You know, this medical journey has been difficult on a human level. Now, on a spiritual level, yes, I declare and decree healing. And I asked the Most High and my ancestors, I said, why has this journey over these last 2 years been so hard? And they said, because you are the walk by faith. You are the modern day Job. You are the one that I'm going to be glorified through. And that's also why God did not allow certain people to come to my rescue, because God wants the glory. I reached out earlier today to some agencies for emergency housing, for transportation, financial, all of that. Being displaced because of a medical crisis is extremely difficult to deal with. And technically, I mean, I really honestly have been displaced for over a year. When Progressive fired me because they didn't believe I had this condition, um, I had my end of year bonus, I had my cushion, and of course, I ended up getting my unemployment after having to wait 4 months to get it. And from that moment, I stayed with people. I had to stay with people that it was very uncomfortable. Um, then pretty much moving around Airbnb to Airbnb, hotel to hotel. And I've never lived like this in all of my years. I literally had my first apartment that I got by myself at 19. I've never needed either of my parents to pay any of my bills. I've never needed my siblings to pay my bills. In fact, they all stayed with me at my first apartment. My mom didn't even know that. Like, I recently told her that because she's like, well, have you reached out to them? I said, yeah, I reached out to them. And per usual, no response. Then my oldest brother, who is a narcissistic, asshole to everybody. I was having a conversation with one of my nephews. He said he seems to have amnesia. He seems to forget everything you did for. I said, I know. And see, I could be holding on to bitterness and resentment. What I realized is this is all divinely orchestrated. Every part of this journey, God showed me. And it is amazing that I saw this, let's see, 26, 14 years ago. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, 14 years ago. I saw this. They showed me the thick part of the Monopoly board of my life. They showed me how it was going to be really, really hard for a long period of time. And then they showed me still moving along the Monopoly board, even when it was hard. I remember seeing Elissa's death. I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember them showing me her lifeless body, Mom Diane holding her, crying. And it got to a point where I was like, Lord, when she died, I didn't know how I was going to live without her. I've walked through life with her. Her family is my second family. They are the family that I honestly wish I was born into. They're always there for one another. They always genuinely love one another no matter what. And that's why I thank God for my second mom and Elissa's family. But even me being here, I'm far away. And so my second mom checks on me all the time. She'll call, she'll text, hey, what's going on? What did the doctor say? How's your health? See, people don't understand how just being supportive doesn't cost you anything. To just check on and just be like, hey, how are you doing? Instead of reaching out because you want something, reaching out because you want something physical, reaching out because you need gas money, or you need help with food, or you need help with your bills, or you need help with your kids. Like, I really realized that I had been so conditioned to narcissistic behavior that I didn't even recognize it in the so-called friendships that I've been holding on to for 10, 13, 14, 15 years. And so, again, every part of this journey has been divinely orchestrated, because if I was not going through this, there's no way I would have seen people's true colors. There's no way people would have truly revealed who they are, because they would have continued to put on the fake face to receive. And the more that I do focus on my healing, the more that I consult with my own spiritual advisor and other spiritualists, the more that I recognize these people are very unhealed. And this is the reason that they have behaved like this. It's not because I did anything to you other than tell you the truth. And a lot of people, when you tell them the truth, you become an enemy. They really hate you for you telling the truth. It's like they would rather you be fake like them and just, keep smiling, keep just being fake. And that's one thing I cannot be. Even if it makes me the villain in their story, I'm going to speak the truth. And if me speaking my truth makes you upset, then you might need to check yourself about how fake you are. The things that have and are being said, the lies, the slander, the defamation. I had a conversation with two of my nephews, two of my brother's sons, the two that I'm the closest to, recently. One is trying to salvage his relationship with my brother. The other one hates him. He doesn't even call him dad. He calls him by his first name because my brother told him that he wasn't his son and not to contact him. I remember going through that with my mom after I left home. She said the same thing to me. If you leave this house, you can never come back and I'm never going to help you. And she has, in true Capricorn fashion, stood by that. I love my mom to life, but she has parts of her that are very unhealed. And to see my brother repeat that with his kids is actually sad. And I've done my best to try to, counsel with them and just be supportive, because I love all of my nieces and nephews, even the grown ones. Because I remember when they were all born, I remember holding them as babies. I remember changing their diapers, feeding them, putting them to sleep. I've been an aunt since I've been an aunt for over 30 years. And when I see that generational curse continue, we have different fathers. And what was revealed to me is that my brother and his seed are cursed. That's why so many things have happened to his children. And I cover them daily. I call every one of their names out and cover them in prayer. And I ask God, help them, show them how to break that generational curse off of themselves, Because I can pray for it, but just like with clients, if you don't do the healing yourself, you have to do the work, The things that I said when I found out about the lies my brother told and ran with and told other people, everything I said was going to happen to him with his heart has and is still happening. And my mother is very scared that my brother's about to die, and I didn't have the heart to tell her that he is. I've seen her funeral 5 times. I've seen his 3. And it's not about wishing death on anybody. These are premonitions. I'm an empath, clairvoyant, psychic medium. I've had premonitions of funerals since I was 8. Starting with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. Hers was the first funeral that I saw, and then she died a week later. And I talked with both of my nephews about that. The one that's trying to salvage their relationship, he was like, well, I just want to know him so I can know who I am. And I understand that. I did the same thing with my father. My father had a lot of good things about him and a lot of really fucked up things about him. So the parts of him that are fucked up are the parts of me that I am healing. When I see those ways, because you can't help your bloodline. Like, you're going to be like both of your parents. And if that parent doesn't do the work to heal, it's your job to do the work to heal. And that's what I've been teaching them. And I told my other nephew, I said, well, I commend you for trying to salvage your relationship with your father, because his other 4 kids don't want anything to do with him at all. They can't stand him. And that breaks my heart. Because again, I remember when they were all babies, you know. And I remember when we were a family, but that illusion of family was actually trauma bonds. It's crazy when you realize that your family were your first karmics. For those who don't know what a karmic is a relationship that's usually very tumultuous, that comes to teach you about areas of yourself that you need to heal. I was always a popular loner, even though I was the youngest of four on my mom's side. I loved being alone. I didn't know I was an empath as a kid. I just knew that being around everybody irritated me because I was channeling and feeling all of their energy, their emotions, their feelings, their thoughts. So I was always the black sheep, kind of the outcast. Even when I was in church, even when we had our church and I was a preacher's daughter and I was a devout so-called Christian and, minister and talking about that with my nephew. He was like, Auntie, I grew up listening to you sing in church. I had no idea that my nephew even looked up to me like that. The boy his ass off. And I said, well, nephew, you know, my life journey, my ascension spiritually, I just cannot go back to that. He wants me to come back to that so bad. I can't. I won't. Once God delivered me from that cult, I vowed to never return. We've been discussing my mom's funeral. In fact, my mom has been discussing that with me because she has told me that she's ready to go. And I'm fully aware of that. I love her so much. But I don't think I could ever step foot back in that building. When Bishop Jeremiah Reed died, the father of the pastor who's there now, the one that married the 18-year-old when he was 63, Dwight, Jeremiah Reed was his father. When Jeremiah Reed died in 2018, that was the first time I had stepped foot in that church in 20 years. Because the last time I was there is when I was raped by my ex-fiance. And I was still going to church and trying to act like everything was normal and trying to act like it didn't happen because that's what the pastor, Jeremiah Reed, asked me to do. He said, don't go to the police. Y'all just keep coming to church so nobody will suspect anything and we will counsel with you. My mother does not understand that, because it was so long ago and she's only been a member there for, I think, like five or 6 years. So she wasn't around for all of the horrific sexual abuse and things that a lot of us members endured. And there's times that I don't understand how she can be a member there until I think back to when I was in that. And brainwashing and MK Ultra is very real in these religious cults, and they try everything to get you to come back. Even people there who I do still care about, that have reached out on social media. Hey, we miss you. When are you coming to see your mom? When are you coming to visit? Well, I don't know. I got a lot going on with my health. It's like that part of my past, they don't understand. I don't think they ever will until they awaken and come out of it. Because again, when people don't know that they are being brainwashed, they can't see it. And so when people are like, well, how come you're not more angry at them? Because I remember when I was them. I remember when I was a member there and I would go out and call myself ministering to people and being a minister and preaching and singing and, teaching Sunday school and going out and doing the, what is it called? evangelical ministry, street ministry, knocking on doors. Like, I remember when I was in that, and you do believe that what you're doing is right, because that's how they condition you, that's how they brainwash you, is, come to church, let's do God's will, blah, blah, blah. And then you come out of that bullshit and realize that everything that they're doing in these temples is satanic and Luciferian as fuck. And that is the real reason that they can't see. Lucifer is a fallen angel who once was the minister of music in heaven. It was confirmed when I went to heaven. Lucifer is not a red-faced, horned animal. Lucifer is actually a very beautiful, angelic being. The light of deception, the morning star. So a lot of what people feel in these temples, these churches, they think it's God, it's actually Lucifer. This is also why this has been the focus of my investigative research about the satanic agenda, the satanic ritual calendar, the cults, the satanic sexual ritual abuse, the satanic ritual abuse, because I've been on the inside studying this stuff ever since I was a kid. The family that I met at the last hotel I was at, the wife and I connected, and she was like, these people expect, because we came from these churches, to like go back. She was like, me and my husband vowed we would never step foot in another church after we realized how much satanic activity goes on behind the scenes. And of course, y'all know I went deep into what I researched and what I've experienced. And it is an amazing thing to meet other people who are already awakened, who already know the reality of the deception. And so we were discussing that. And I said, a lot of people are going to not even realize that when this one world order and this one world currency and this global united bullshit that they're going to pull off in 2030, a lot of people have no idea that Jesus, the Roman version of Yeshua or Yahashua, they have no idea that that's actually Lucifer that they are worshiping. They think that it's Christ, but it's actually Lucifer. This is why so many people are going to be lost, because they're following what some other man or woman told them to believe instead of listening to the voice of God. And that is what I was shown in heaven. The double doors, the God versus Magog. This is why I'm producing my movie as we speak. My movie documentary and my animated series to talk about this. The double doors I was shown in heaven had all the religious symbols over it. And it said Gog versus Magog, which if you look in Ezekiel 38, you will find Gog and Magog there. I had no idea about that until I died and went to heaven. And then way, way far off was the narrow door. And it said Yeshua. And the young lady that I met, the wife, they are Hebrew Israelites. And she said, well, actually, Yeshua means salvation. Yahashua is Christ's Hebrew name. And I remember Sister Shonda telling me that when she first came to my channel and we would talk offline. And I said, either way, that's what I was shown in heaven. It said Yeshua, the true Christ, also known as Jesus, the false Christ. Many will be deceived by the false Christ. The Antichrist is not a beast. It is deception. It is Lucifer pretending to be Christ. Literally. That's what it is. Again, the morning star, the bright and morning star. What was that gospel song? Yeah. Sweet Jesus, sweet Jesus. He's a lily of the valley, bright and morning star. How I love him. How I love him. He's a God of every nation. Bless his name. That's what they're going to do. They're going to make one God over all nations. They're going to use Jesus. And people are going to be worshiping Lucifer, not even knowing it. It's so much that I have discovered in my research, in my walk, in my ascension, that I know my relatives, that like my nephews, I know that they care, but they are still in the matrix of religion, especially my brother's youngest son. I love him dearly. He's awakening, but he's not fully awake. So he still kind of has one foot in, one foot out. And I said, what I need y'all to understand is that if you are following any form of religion, I don't care what the title is, if you are following another person's set of rules, you are not hearing the voice of the Most High God. What I know that they showed me in heaven was that the Most High God wants us to be spiritual. The true Christ abhorred religion. The true Christ was just like me, spiritual. That's why they called him Beelzebub. They called him a demon, because he was a celestial being walking this earth, both human and divine, a demigod, as technically all of us are. And he walked around using Reiki. What we now call Reiki is what Christ used to heal people. What we now call being an empath, feeling people's feelings, is what Christ did. What we now call clairvoyant is what Christ did, premonitions, visions. Even in the Old Testament, Joseph, they used him to interpret dreams because he had premonitions and he was an empath. He was a clairvoyant. Psychic mediums, they've always used to channel, tell us what's coming towards us, tell us what's going to happen. So I don't understand how churches frown upon spirituality when what you do in churches it's demonic as fuck. It's satanic as fuck. But then when you guys want spiritual clarity, you come to spiritual healers for it secretly. But then in your pulpits, you condemn it. And even in my own family, even within my siblings, they have come to me for spiritual advice. When my oldest sister's oldest daughter was being attacked by demons when she was 2, I wasn't even living in Omaha. I was still living in Kansas City. And my sister called me hollering and screaming, and she's like, there is something that I can't see dragging my baby girl up and down the hallway in my apartment. And I didn't know back then that I was a psychic medium, but I was able to channel. I've always been able to astral project, so I can put myself in your environment and actually see what's happening. And I did that. And she said, am I losing my mind? I said, no. That's Legion coming for her, because she's chosen and she's awakening. A lot of children awaken between the ages of 2 and 5 years old. I definitely did. Me and my other sister, we used to astral project into each other's dreams and in our neighborhood and all of that. And I did spiritual warfare over the phone to cast that demon out of my sister's apartment and off my niece. Then I gave her the scriptures to put up for protection. And what I later realized was that it wasn't just demons that were on my other sister, who was staying there temporarily, who was bipolar schizophrenic. It was also demons from my oldest sister, from the sexual abuse that she had endured and carried and didn't tell us until my father died, that she endured from her father, because my 2 oldest siblings both have different dads. And I'll never forget that, because I heard the terror in my niece's voice, and I heard the fear in my sister's voice, but I maintained my position. I don't I don't get scared by demons. Demons bow down because they feel the frequency of the Most High God within me. They do bow down to God. In fact, demons actually defend the chosen, believe it or not, when we're spiritually attacked. They do. So I remember that. I remember times that my sister would tell me that things were moving around in her apartment by themselves, especially after she first got married. And my brother-in-law at the time wasn't healed. He had a lot of dark energies on him from his former substance abuse and all of that. She would call me over there when I did move back to Omaha and ask me to come over and cleanse her apartment. That's what I did in the churches as a spiritualist. I would perform exorcisms. I would cast demons out of people, out of places, out of objects, conduits, mediums, all of that. So when I look back on that, like I said, I've been there for my relatives, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually. When my sister had all of my nieces and nephews, the ones that I couldn't make it there to be at the hospital, which was her first and her last, I showed up when they were about 1 to 2 months old. The two middle ones, I was physically there at the hospital when they were born. And that's why I'm so close to them. And then I was around her when she was pregnant and helped her, helped her with the shower, helped her with the baby, stayed at the hospital, even though I was working 2 jobs and going to school. As soon as I got off work, I got out of class, I was at the hospital or at her apartment or at her house with her and them kids. And, got them clothes, food, helped her with her bills. I'll never forget when her and my brother-in-law first separated, and he wouldn't help her with the kids, wouldn't help her pay bills. She couldn't work because she had just had my nephew. And she's like, our lights got shut off. I paid to get her lights back on. Like it was nothing. Like you are not going to be in this house with my nieces and nephew, my brand new nephew with no lights on. Like, it's like everybody forgets how much support I've given. And not because I expected anything in return, because I love you. Scorpios, like, we are so loving and loyal. And a lot of people love that about us. And then a lot of people take it for granted until we take the love away. Our absence is strongly felt once we remove ourselves. And when I was younger, I was a lot more hot-headed, a lot more argumentative. Now at my age, I'll just silently remove myself. I'm not going to make an announcement. You'll just find yourself not having access anymore. And as much as I love them, seeing the unhealed parts of them are exactly why I don't ever want to go back home. Not to mention the traumas that they are still dealing with that I just don't want to be around. I don't want to be around toxic, draining energy. I don't want to be around people who tolerate me, but then talk shit about me as far as my sexuality and my spirituality. Those are the two main reasons that my family is not supportive. Relatives, because again, I don't consider them family. I've heard so many things, and yes, it's heartbreaking, especially when it comes to my nieces and nephews, the ones that I helped raise, to be told by my other sibling that, well, she doesn't want you to talk to the kids because she doesn't want you influencing them that being gay is okay, even though she was the one that convinced me to come out in 2014. And she has joined a new religion that is just as much of a cult as the ones we come from. So I said, okay. So she's basically no longer supportive of the LGBTQIA community, even though when she first married her husband, she was very supportive, and we would do events at all the gay clubs back home. And I wasn't even, like, I was still running from my sexuality then, so I wasn't even, like, embracing that I was bi or any of that. I was still homophobic. And I just looked at that like there are people that use church as like a crutch, you know. They use it as an escape instead of actually doing the work to heal. They just run to a church. Oh, I'm gonna just run to a church and I'm gonna join this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do that. But then the trauma that you struggle with daily, the trauma that I can still see on you, you're not dealing with. It's the same thing I've told clients of mine that have booked the one-on-one video healing sessions. I can give you the tools. I can show you how to heal. I can address and channel your childhood trauma. I can tell you exactly what happened to you as a child, and I can show you how to heal it. But it's up to you to do the work, not to use our sessions as a crutch to trauma dump and to trauma bond. And that's what I've witnessed in my own family. Like, that's the pattern. It's the narcissistic love bomb, devalue, discard, and then trauma bonds. And I was thinking even earlier today, um, someone had brought up the subject of, the father of the baby I lost on Mother's Day. And I said, you know what? As much as it hurts that I lost 5 babies, I now am very grateful that my children, because I think about that, my God, if they're not supportive to me, they would not have been supportive to our kids. The same lack of support that I received, the children would have received. Like, literally, they would have had abandonment issues. They would have had the why isn't daddy there for me? Why isn't daddy helping mom? Like the same way I grew up. Because I love my dad, but my dad did not help my mom with me and my sister. Once she divorced him because he was physically abusive, he told her, you take care of them kids. And then when she got remarried, oh, well, you let that nigga take care of them kids. Like, he did not. My father died owing my mom almost $40,000 in back child support. And I didn't realize how much of that part of my past I had repeated in my adult life in my younger years. Because again, the father of my Mother's Day baby I've known for almost 15 years. And he picks and chooses when he is supportive. And usually when he's supportive is when he wants some ass, like, just being real. It's very seldom where he's been supportive without expecting sex. So I looked at that like, man, if our daughter would have survived, what type of relationship would she have had with him? Probably the same absentee father relationship that I had with my dad, which is why when my father did his best to try to heal our relationship, that's why it hurt so much when he died. Because it really wasn't until the last 5 years of his life that he did genuinely, try to heal our connection. The father of the last baby I lost, the one that's from Atlanta, he's older than me. It was the same thing. Like, and I know that he, to this day, is still in love with me because he's told me that. But being in love and knowing how to properly love are two different things. And when a man is narcissistic and used to getting his way and used to using money to buy affection, to have transactional relationships, there's no way he can genuinely love someone like me who is a genuine soul. I remember when he came back in my life last year, the end of last year, when my aunt died in October. And the first thing when he reached out, he said, I just want to talk to you. No strings attached. I just want to talk and have a conversation. And I was leery you know, because again, I know him. I've known him for almost 10 years. And I'm like, I know you. I know you want to do more than talk. So we can have a conversation, but I was extremely guarded. I was like, we're not getting back together. And again, I'm an empath, so I'm already knowing what type of time he was on. And it was cool for like the first couple of weeks, and then just literally out of nowhere, he just was like, "So do you think I could ever be your husband?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Bruh, I haven't seen you in like almost 5 years. Um, what do you mean?" You know, he's like, I never stopped loving you. I've always been in love with you. I know, but you don't know how to love me the right way. You're not healed enough to do that. And he said, "Well, I'm spiritual now, and I've been working on my healing, and I've been going to therapy, and everything that you told me when we were together is what my therapist told me." I know that they did, because what I was telling you, I learned in therapy, you know? So it was like, okay, it was cool at first. Then it was, I know you're meant to be my wife, and, you know, can we get married? Will you come on the road with me? He's a truck driver, and I want to make things right. I want to show you that you can trust me. And I'm like, and I've heard this how many times when we were together, the 5.5 years, and you would cheat, and you would say that, you would come back, you would get back in, and then you would cheat again. And I was like, and the thing about me, I've done so much work to heal that I'm just not going to repeat another toxic cycle with you. I remember telling him that very clearly on the phone and in person. And then the weekend of my birthday, he got that room. It was a very beautiful room. I was sick the entire weekend from food poisoning from the restaurant that we ate at the first night. Like, I was severely sick. This man was still trying to fuck me, literally. And I was just like, aren't you concerned about my health? Like, I've been in the bathroom for 8.5 hours, sick as hell, plus dealing with the rectal bleeding because of how severely sick I've been. And it was in that moment that I realized this man is never going to change, and he's always going to, yes, be in love with me, but also have lust for me because he is not healed. And we had a discussion about the person that I did spend the night with a year and a half ago that gave me intimacy. And I said, this person did not try to get me to break my celibacy. He actually loved the fact that I'm celibate. He loved the fact that I'm spiritual and intuitive, and truly showed me the highest level of respect that I didn't expect, because again, he's a very well-known celebrity and artist, and most men in the industry just, they just be trying to fuck. He didn't. Talked about God, spirituality, family, um, career, future, music. We also did talk about the satanic agenda and how all these different artists sell their souls. And when I was telling my ex this, he got very angry, very angry, and was like, "So, do you have feelings for this person?" I said, "Probably. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure there's something there." Well, but if you're going to be my wife, I don't want to have to worry about him, because then, as soon as we get together, then he's going to come around and just all this insecure shit. And I'm like, for all the years we were together that you cheated on me, I never acted like this with you. You and I are not together. I'm definitely not in a relationship with him. I'm single. But I was showing him the difference in the energy. I said, that person who gets ass thrown at him all the time was more respectful of me, my energy, and my condition than you, who have known me for almost a decade and that I lost a child with. I said, that's what I was telling you, the difference in frequency. And I'll never forget after we had that conversation, he would constantly bring him up. Like literally every little thing. Well, since you're single and I don't want to be spending money on you and buying you stuff for you to go wear for him. I'm like, wear for him? I don't even see this dude. Like, we haven't hung out in over a year because of what I've been going through. And I just look at all that like, man, if our child, our daughter, would have survived, she would have been abandoned. She would have had to deal with his unhealed energy. That's why it's so important to heal your childhood trauma before you get married and before you reproduce with people. Because when you don't, every unhealed part of you is passed down to your child. And that child has to deal with the unhealed energy of that parent. So it's like I've had just a lot of clarity this past week, especially about those particular exes. Because my children that I lost, I was in 5 different relationships. They would have had different dads. But those 2 were the 2 that I stayed the closest to just over the years, you know. And the last one, the one from Atlanta, I had to cut him off. What was it, almost 5 years ago? Yeah. Well, 4.5, close to 5 years ago. I had to cut him off because that cycle kept repeating where we'd break up, I'd, leave him alone, and then 6 months, 8 months, here you come back apologizing, and I want to make things different this time, and I promise, this and that. And I thought about my mom and how she stayed with my father for 12 years while he abused her physically. And then she stayed with my former stepfather for 13 years. And he was mentally and emotionally abusive. Narcissistic as fuck, kept cheating on her, kept projecting, gaslighting her, blaming her. I remember watching my mom beg and plead with this man that I was like, he's not even good enough for you. And you're begging this man to come back and he just keeps cheating on you? As a teenage girl, I didn't understand that. And what I look at now is my mother was not taught about self-worth. She was not taught about self-love. I thought about this earlier. My mom told me that in the 80s, in her environment, it was a sign of respect for a man to abuse his wife. That's why it was so common. Like the Tina Turner movie, What's Love Got to Do with It, when Ike kept beating the fuck out of her until she finally fought back. That was very common when I was a kid, for women to just accept men being abusive. And I think about that, how horrible it had to be to come from that generation where abuse was normal. And then I looked at my adult relationships, from my ex-fiance, 21 years ago, that raped me, the shock that I went through, leaving him, coming back, leaving him, coming back. I was repeating what I witnessed my mother do. I didn't realize it until I started therapy. A lot of young women and young men repeat what you see, like whatever you see in your environment, you naturally repeat that in your relationships. And whatever is not healed, you project into your relationships. Lord knows I did in my past. Ex-girlfriend, exes, I know. Like I fully understand the parts of me that were not healed, that contributed to the relationship being what it was. So when I think about karmic relationships, from family to friends to romantic, no matter what my situation looks like, I thank God for growth and healing. My current circumstance has been very unpredictable, especially like this entire month. It just, things have been kind of all over the place. And Pluto did go into retrograde as of the 6th of May. Pluto comes to reveal and give upheavals. It comes to cause disruptions and destruction. It comes to reveal, to show you what's been hidden, what you've been deceived from, what has, things that have been hidden from you. It starts coming to light. And no matter what other people have to say about me and my situation and circumstance, I'm so grateful for growth. I walked past some homeless people that were alcoholics earlier today. And the way they looked at me, it was almost like a longing in their eyes for God. And I knew in that moment they must see my angels and ancestors around me. And I looked at them and I said, Lord, I thank you for healing. It's not about looking down on them. It's about remembering when I was an alcoholic. Now, I've never been an alcoholic that slept on the street. I have been an alcoholic that went out with my homegirls and my friends and got so drunk that I fell and blacked out. I remember that. I remember when I drank bottles daily. I remember when that was my comfort and my coping mechanism. And I literally cannot even remember the last time I purchased alcohol at home. The last time I remember drinking socially was at for the Love and Music event in August. That was August of 2024. And then on my birthday, because my ex, he was trying his hardest to get me drunk. And I just got a little tipsy and then I stopped. He was like, since when are you a lightweight? I said, since I stopped being an alcoholic after I lost our baby. And for people from my past to see that change, that strength that I wasn't looking at. Because I'm so used to, having 2 and 3 streams of income, 2 and 3 jobs, and always working, that I didn't even look at the parts of me that have changed for the better, the growth, the healing. Even when I would order groceries, I remember I would always order like a 6-pack or a bottle or 2 bottles, especially when I was working from home for Progressive, because that job stressed me out. And that was my thing. When I got off work, I'd make myself a drink or 2 or 3, or drink a whole 6-pack of Dos Equis, because that's really the only beer that I drink. And I remember I started buying 12 packs, then I started buying 24 packs, and I'm like, I gotta stop doing this. I'm falling back into alcoholism. And for me to be going through all of what I've been going through and to not desire alcohol is healing. That's why I had to remember, okay, people project their unhealed energy onto me by making negative comments and bringing up the past. And, I remember when you were like my siblings. I remember when you used to get drunk. Yeah, remember when I used to. I fully own my past, every part of it. My past is what made me who I am today. But for people to bring that up is because they see the healed version. And when people are not healed and you are working on your healing, you become a mirror to them. Literally, your life becomes a mirror of the unhealed parts of them. It makes them angry. Some of them even asked, what did you do? I said, I started healing. I started going to therapy regularly. I started working with my life coach regularly. I joined support groups. I did the research on my own. This is what has made me the spiritualist that I am today. Are the hardships, the traumas, the grief, the losses, the deaths. Even right now, like, I've been listening to my gospel playlist and singing. I met a guy tonight, part of the rainbow community. And we get to talking. He does music. Now he does use AI, that Suno app everybody keeps talking about. I know that everybody's going with this whole move to AI. Some parts of it is good. You know, ChatGPT and Copilot are very helpful when it comes to like design and, you know, helping you reword things. But I'm a real artist. I grew up listening to Erykah Badu and Jill Scott and Lauryn Hill and India Arie, real artists that never used AI. They just used their raw vocals and Pro Tools, you know, producers use to clean up voices. People that are just using AI now to create content, to create music. It irks my soul a little bit because that's not artistry. That's just you typing a command and an app creating a fake version of artistry. Now, the music that he showed me was beautiful. It was gospel songs. He said, well, I'm looking for an artist. I said, well, we can collaborate. I said, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to sing over the AI. I'm going to sing a song from my actual vocals. And the gospel songs really resonated that he gave me to play, or that he gave me to listen to. And I knew that was my ancestors communicating, like, everything's going to be okay. Today was one of the hardest days that I've had in a long time. I had an emotional breakdown earlier because it was like everything just kept going left, going left, going left. And then it was like every single person I encountered was just negative as hell, low frequency as hell. And I'm already under pressure, plus not feeling well. Circumstances today didn't turn out the way I had hoped. But then God showed me exactly why everything had to happen was to realign. And some of the things that I've been needing to actually do and get done got done today because of what went left. So I had to shift my focus and say, okay, Lord, thank you. You know, I had to move locations, move my stuff to a different storage unit and do it by myself. And financially, certain things I was expecting didn't come through. And then the different agencies I reached out to, just a lot of things went left. And I said, Lord, what are you teaching me right now? What's the lesson in this? Because what we often feel is punishment, I keep saying this, especially on TikTok, is realignment. Ignorant people say and have said, oh, God's punishing you because you left the church. I left a fucking cult that I will never, ever return to. Ever. No, I will not go back home. Period. I've said it. For what? To be around a bunch of toxic energy and y'all still caught up in all these cults that are satanic as fuck? Hell no. Not coming back to that shit. What I'm going to continue to do is daily walk by faith, no matter what my situation looks like, because I've already been shown all of this. See, the level of faith that is required to persevere when your life feels like it's falling apart, I just talked about this on TikTok. It's not falling apart, it's falling into alignment. And there are people that must be removed. Like it just has to happen. They must be removed because they are no longer in alignment. They cannot go with you where you're going. And you cannot throw pearls to swine. You cannot give to people that are not deserving, to people that are not worthy. And oftentimes we hang on to people because they're relatives or because they're a childhood friend or you went to high school with them or college and you've known them for so many years. And I don't want to, man, fuck all of that. If you're not in alignment anymore, let it go. Even when I did the Golden Mantras poll last night, the Golden Mantra card came out that said, let it go, let it flow. Came out 3 times. And I said, this is for those of y'all that have been struggling with releasing people that you know are not good for you just because of how long you've known them. There's no hate, there's no bitterness, there's no resentment. It's time. It's time for alignment and it's time to release. Again, Pluto retrograde comes to show us just that. Who and what we need to release. And so when I think about exes, when I think about so-called friends, when I think about relatives, these cults, these churches, these cliques, these groups of people that I've grown up with, they're all watching, especially on Instagram and Facebook. They're all watching and they're communicating with one another, just like I was shown in heaven. Like the angels literally showed me this. They showed me these groups of people that were watching and talking and texting, but not engaging. Like not actually supporting, but texting each other, DMing each other. Hey, did you see whoop-de-whoop-de-woo? And then in the midst of them watching this very part of my journey, when everything came all at once, the offer, the career, the home, the love, the new beginning, the new soul family, they were watching that too. And they were in deep regret for not supporting at times when I genuinely needed it. And then they all tried to come back. They tried to spin the block and it was still access denied. So what people have incorrectly called punishment, even somebody said, well, you know, a lot of times we go through hardships when our relationship with God isn't intact. And I, you know, out of respect for that person, because they're older than me, I didn't even respond to that. Because how the fuck you going to tell me about my relationship with the Most High God when you're not a part of it? You weren't there when I died and went to heaven. You're not there when I communicate with the Most High God. That's strictly between me and the Most High God. And what I realize is that even those who claim that they're not religious still have religious conditioning. That's where that comes from. Trying to recruit people, trying to save people when it's literally the Most High God's job to save. It's only our job to deliver a message. Just like me, I'm a spiritualist. I am not religious. I don't practice religion. And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to address this because one, this person's older than me. Two, they do, even though they say that they're not religious, they do come from a religious background. So this is more of their conditioning that is speaking when I have firsthand knowledge of heaven and have experienced it. So it's like that judgmental bullshit is what they teach in churches. Oh, you're going through hell because you don't have your relationship with God. And how could you possibly know that when you're not a part of it? It's just that simple. The people that I counsel with, that I give spiritual advice to, if we speak about spirituality, them transitioning from religion to spirituality, I don't speak to them about their relationship with God. That's none of my business. Your direct relationship with God is strictly between you and the Most High God. It has nothing to do, even if you're married, your spouse has nothing to do with that relationship when it's one-on-one. Now, I do believe that when it comes to marriage, that you should be equally yoked spiritually. I do believe that. But like when I get married, my husband, his relationship with God is going to be his, and mine is going to be mine. And then we come together as two high frequency, high vibrational people, and we magnify that energy even more. But his relationship with the Most High God will have nothing to do with me. When he prays silently, that's him communicating with God. Just like when I pray, it's me communicating with God. And so I've also learned that not everything that is spoken to me deserves a response. And I don't argue with people about religion. I don't argue with people about spirituality, because this is not arrogance. This is experience. I've gone to heaven. What do I look like arguing with somebody who's never experienced heaven? I've been there and was sent back to this planet that I honestly can't stand to fulfill a mission. Because again, once you experience heaven, you don't want to come back to earth. It's horrible. Like, earth is so devoid of God because this is Lucifer's home. So it's like, I even, I just kind of smiled when the person said that. And I said, you know what? There is nothing anybody can take away from my experience when I died and went to heaven. And it happened when I was in my apartment by myself. So literally, again, nobody was there. Nobody traveled through space and time with me and woke up in heaven with me. A lot of people say, I want to go to heaven and meet my relatives. I didn't see any of them. I didn't. There's different dimensions where when people pass away, there's astral dimensions that you can travel to see, meet with, and communicate with your ancestors after they have passed. When you're in heaven, there's no humanity. So it's not possible for you to go to heaven and see your relatives, because you're a celestial being. You're no longer human. So there's no like mom and dad, brother and sister, best friend. That doesn't exist. Not, at least not in my experience. It didn't. The beings that I saw were all celestial beings. So for me to know directly the frequency of God and who God really is, and for human beings, earthly beings, who have been deceived by the ego state to think that they have the knowledge or the right or the education to tell me anything about God, it's just like, wow. That's like, you know what that's like? That's like a baby that's learning to crawl, telling a marathon runner how to win the race. You understand what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to talk to me about God when I've experienced God? The Most High God, the highest frequency that exists universally. The unconditional love, the peace beyond understanding. I've experienced that. So that's why when life on this planet gets hard, I have to remind myself of what I've already experienced, and that this is nothing more than a journey and a trip. The reason I say I don't like Earth is not from depression or a depressive state. It's because I've actually been to heaven and I long to go back. I long for it. I can't even explain how much I long for it. Because the energies that exist in this planet don't exist there. That's why demons are so angry, because they're cut off from the love of the Most High God. I long for heaven daily. That's why I don't fear death. When it's my time, I'm ready. I want to go back home. I want to go back and feel all of that. I want to experience all of that, that eternal bliss every day. Oh, I want to feel that daily. So in order for me to do that, I must complete this mission no matter how hard it gets. No matter what my situation looks like, no matter what my body's putting me through, no matter what my financial situation is. I have to keep going so that I can go back. And when people have asked me, when I tell them about my journey, including the family that I met, she said, how are you sane? I said, God, literally. And not from religion or a church, just from me tapping into the frequency of the Most High God that already lives within me. That's how I'm sane. That's how I'm strong. That's how I persevere. That's how I have the strength to keep going. So when people have and are continuing to say bullshit, I just chalk it up to they're unhealed and they have no knowledge of who God really is. Andrew said it's hard what you're going through. It is on a human level, but on a spiritual level, I've been shown this. So every time, like today, when I had that breakdown earlier, I had to pull myself together, ground myself, and remember, I told myself, this is exactly what they showed me. Like for over half of that Monopoly board of my life in the sepia color, it was really fucked up. It was like back-to-back fucked up situations. And I remember them in heaven. They said, are you sure you can do this? They kept showing me. They showed me how difficult it was going to be. They showed me how many times I almost broke, but I kept going. And I even said, I was like, you know what? It's going to take a lot more than this shit for y'all to break me. And when I said that, I was talking to the demonic forces that were coming against me. I said, it's going to take more than this. Because I promised the Most High God and the angelic order when I signed the soul contract in heaven that I would fulfill this mission no matter what I encountered. Because this earth is not my home. I am not from this planet. I was sent back here. I chose to come back here, just like I chose to reincarnate. I know I've lived my lifetimes before. I talked about this on TikTok. I was living when Harriet Tubman was doing the Underground Railroad. I was with her. I lived throughout the Civil War. I've lived for centuries over and over and over. I've been sent back to this planet over and over and over. I've been born over and over. I remember exiting my mother's portal. I literally remember that. I remember the first time I heard her voice outside of her womb. I remember the way that her breast smelled when she breastfed me. I remember the way her heart felt, her rhythm. My mother's heart rhythm put me to sleep when I was a baby. And although our family has a lot of toxic energy, I am going to miss her. I hate that I keep seeing her funeral. But I also know that the best parts of her, just like with my father, are the parts I want to carry forward. And my mother's strength is unmatched, just like my aunt that passed away, my Auntie Mary, that was married to my uncle. So is my second mom. So was Alyssa's. I've had so many incredibly strong women that have my grandmother, both my grandmothers, my maternal grandmother and my dad's mom. I was showing the wife of the couple that I met, my dad's obituary and Alyssa's and my Aunt Luella and my grandmother, and she's like, you look a lot like her. I'm like, I do. I look a lot like my grandma Rodriguez, like a lot like her. And she was so loving. Her and I were very, very close. Like, I lost my mind when she died in 2006. And with every loss, over time, I found strength, and I can feel them. Even now, I can feel them. So it's like, in order for me to break all of these generational curses on both sides of my family, I must focus on my healing. This is why I'm constantly posting about my aligned manifestations by DM healing sessions and different things that I'm offering. Even tonight, the heart and soul session, because so many people on TikTok have been DMing me questions about love, relationships. Is this going to work out? Is that going to work out? Does this person love me? You know, a lot of people are focused on love right now. Then I've been seeing the angel number 555, which amplifies new love, new beginnings, divine love. 222, angel number for new partnerships, divine aligned partnerships. This is why people are falling away. And I just talked about this last night. I said, the people that are leaving your life, let them. That is God aligning, removing, and making space for the new aligned connections. Today I seen 2222, 222, 333, 444, 555, 555, 1111, 1212, 999, 666, which is the angel number for balance and harmony. It's not evil at all. Like, literally, if you go look up angel number 666, it'll say the angels are trying to tell you that you need to find balance and harmony, that you're putting too much energy into one area of your life and you need to find balance. All of these things, these spiritual things, I've discovered after having died and went to heaven and coming back, and then through my own growing pains, my own karmic lessons. So this period of uncertainty was shown to me. I hate it on a human level. I do. I don't like living like this. I've never lived like this ever in my life. Thyroid cancer and had to have the thyroid cancer surgery. I was able to, get more support. Things were better then, but mind you, that was also 16 years ago. So a lot of things were different back then. And I was asking God, I said, why have I had to go through so much uncertainty as it pertains to my health when I am a healer? Why, how come I can't heal this? And I keep being told by my angels and ancestors, well, there are certain things that you need to go to the doctor for. In this condition I've been dealing with, technically, it started, let's see, I moved from Houston, the same year that Bishop Reed died. So he died in March of 2018, and my ex came to get me, I think it was like September. And then a year later, so 2019 is when I started really having a lot of bowel issues. And ironically, it was after I stopped taking Ambien. And I found out a few years later that Ambien caused a lot of issues with rectal issues, rectal bleeding, people dealing with ulcers, pretty much everything I've been diagnosed with. And it just progressively got worse. And then I just kept working because I had to. I always had to choose between work and taking care of my health. And then that made it worse, is what the surgeon told me. He said, when you first started experiencing these symptoms, you should have, gotten it taken care of then. And I was like, well, my job insurance at the time didn't cover it. They had that high deductible plan, and I couldn't afford to pay $1,700 the first year and then $2,700 the second year. So everything was out of pocket. Had a full-time job, health benefits, and still couldn't go see a specialist because I couldn't afford the out-of-pocket costs. So when I've had to explain, especially to the different agencies and stuff, well, how did this all happen? Well, I was working, and Then they let me go because they didn't believe I was going through this because I wasn't able to produce the medical documentation to verify it. And then a month after I got fired, I ended up in the hospital. That's how I got my unemployment. So it's like when I get frustrated because it's like I just want to work. I have been working since I was 12. I don't know how to not work. Like that doesn't set right with me. And I even talked to the surgeon about it. And he said, I'm going to be honest with you. If you start working before you get this surgery, you're going to make it worse. And it could affect the surgery to where it's not successful. He's like, so I know you're going through a lot, but just try to hang in there and, you know, see what you can figure out remotely. Another reason I'm more focused on, my healing sessions and the readings and stuff, because now I must take care of this. There's no more putting it off. The longer I go without treatment, the worse it gets, because this has to be surgically corrected. That's the only way for this to get better. And so we're going to see how things go next month, the first surgical procedure. I am genuinely praying that it does work because I don't want to deal with them making an incision in my rectum. No, it's already painful enough. And he was honest with me. He said, I'm not going to lie to you. You're not going to be able to walk. Like, you're going to have to be on bed rest for 4 to 8 weeks because you're going to be in so much pain that every time you try to walk, it's going to hurt. And I was like, okay, so yeah, let's try not to do that surgery. And let's just try the first procedure and see how that goes. And I'm praying that that first one will correct it. But it's more than one condition. So that's the challenge. I don't want to say obstacle. That is the challenge. He's like, you technically need 2 different surgeries to fully correct everything, but he was like, I just don't want you to be more uncomfortable than you already are. So again, for those who have had so much to say and negativity and judgment and not understanding, I have just had to accept it. I've had to just accept that these people they're not going to understand. I know what and I call my body an avatar. I know what this avatar puts me through every day. I'm the one feeling it. I'm the one experiencing it. And the amount of blood that I lose is very abnormal. And the clots are very abnormal. And the pain is horrific. And then it's just honestly overall disgusting too. Constantly having to buy wipes, gloves, gauze pads, super thick pads to catch the blood when it won't stop and it leaks. I was telling the wife of that family that I said I was driving for Lyft into last year, and I would have to sit on one pillow in the car and then put one on my back for the nerve damage in my spine from accidents where I've been hit. And I would still get out there and drive a minimum of 12 hours a day. Of course, I would take breaks, but I would still drive a minimum of 12 hours a day. So for the people who have called me lazy, it's like, y'all are perfectly healthy and won't do that shit. The fuck you talking about? Like, it's not about lazy. It's about I'm walking around with rectal prolapse and it's extremely uncomfortable and extremely inconvenient. So just in talking with like support group members, they were like, you just need to not focus on people that are not supportive. Like, don't even give them energy. Don't go back and forth. Don't try to convince them. Don't try to get them to understand, because they're not going to until they've experienced it. There's no way they can imagine what it's like. So in these moments of uncertainty, in these moments where things have been delayed, I count it all joy. Just like the scripture says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing that the trying of your faith works patience, so let patience have her perfect work. that's that's my life now. That's what I'm walking and living. Patience, because I want everything yesterday. I want the new contracts I keep being shown. I want the new house I keep being shown. I want the love I keep being shown. I want the completely healed body. I want to go perform. I want to go sing. I keep getting invited to events. I can't go. Not right now. And that becomes depressing because it's like, bruh, I've got all these talents and all these goals that I want to achieve before I get married. Because again, I don't want my success to come from a man. That's not an ego thing, that's a legacy thing. I have a legacy to leave my children as their mother of how mommy persevered and this is what she still achieved, you know? So it's like I want to accomplish my goals. I want to be able to prove to myself that none of the obstacles that I faced stopped me, you know, that every single thing I have endured and overcame and persevered through, it was worth it because I made it through and I achieved my goals despite how hard things were. That is the legacy I want to leave my children, my future children. And then I want to do it for the babies that I lost too. You know, my 5 babies that I lost to miscarriage. It's not for other people. I have nothing to prove to people. I don't give a shit what they think. I really don't. It's to prove to me that this is not going to kill my dreams. You know, this is not going to kill my success. In fact, I declare and decree that I'm already successful. I'm already wealthy. I'm already healthy. I'm already healed. I am abundant. But it's hard to see yourself as abundant when you're going through a real crisis and then you're going through that alone. And for me to really finally see the people here that I've called friends, like family, that I thought were going to be supportive are not. It's like, nope, I got to walk this journey right now alone. I thought about that. Yeshua actually had more than 12 disciples, but he had many disciples. When he decided to shut down and go into the wilderness, he was by himself for 40 days and 40 nights. He did not take the disciples with him. He went into that wilderness alone and meditated and prayed and connected in nature with the Most High God. That's what ascension is. The ability to walk alone and still persevere and still complete the mission. I didn't realize how much strength that took to do. And oftentimes I don't feel strong. It's honestly other people that tell me that I'm strong in moments where I feel so weak as a human, you know. Not spiritually weak, but it's just on a human level, you know, especially when things are out of my control. And I know that that's why God's taken me through this. Scorpios, we do like to be in control. I am not going to lie. And for me, the control is more managing. I'm used to managing my life. I'm definitely used to managing my finances and providing for myself, being sufficient. I'm used to that. That makes me feel good about myself. That's why even when I get married, I'm never going to be one of those wives that just is kept, because I've worked since I was 12. I'm very ambitious. I'm very talented. There are things that I want to achieve, and I don't want to let the medical crisis stop that, you know. So it's like I want to accomplish every single goal, despite what my body's putting me through, despite the people that are not supportive, because that's the greatest part of my testimony, is how I overcame all of the challenges by myself. And that's what God revealed to me. I don't want them getting the glory for your ascension. I don't want them getting the glory for things working out in your favor. I want you to keep walking alone, persevere through this alone, and the right people are going to show up at the right time. I actually had a premonition of a lady that I recently connected with on Instagram, and I didn't even realize that she was who she was until I remembered that premonition. And I saw this last year, in fact, before I ever even saw her profile on Instagram. She was interviewing me for a contract position for social media content management and editing reels, which is what I already do. And she said, it's not your work, it's your energy that makes me want to offer you this. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, I've been watching you. I was like, what do you mean watching me? She's like, I've literally been watching your life. I've been watching you persevere through a lot of shit and still honor God, still do things the right way. And I remember I just started crying in this premonition because, again, I don't be seeing myself in that way until people say it to me. I was up there feeling like a failure, and she was pointing out to me my strength. And she said, so that's why I'm offering you this. I want to help you. You've been walking this journey alone for too long, and you deserve support. And then that made me cry, happy tears. And then she sent me this deposit, and I signed. One contract was 7 figures, the other one was 8 figures. I was literally set for life just off those 2 contracts. And then I received 2 more from 2 other entrepreneurs, 2 other celebrity business people that were like, we want you to work with us. Out of nowhere. When I was at what others would perceive to be my lowest is when, ooh, Asheo, that's when the blessing came in. Unexpected blessings. Then they gave me the keys to this house. They said it's fully furnished, it's paid for. The utilities, taxes, all of that is on auto pay. You don't have to pay any of that. All you have to do is move in, because they knew my housing situation. She said, you've gone through so much and you've handled it with integrity that is unimaginable considering your circumstance. And all I remember in that premonition was me crying because I couldn't believe it. I was like, finally, after all the shit I've been through, finally, you know? And the young lady that I met, the wife of the family that I met recently, she said the same thing. She said, you have traveled through so much hell and you've handled people the right way. I just don't understand why more people aren't supportive. I said, well, when people aren't healed, I mean, I guess I just see the bigger picture. When people aren't healed, I expect them to be fucked up. It's the truth. You know, you just expect it. But I know that I know that I know that I know there is a major blessing coming for me. I know there is. Because I have endured so much. I have. And I take full responsibility for my life. I take full responsibility for decisions that I've made. I've made decisions to not exploit myself to survive. I made decisions to not break my celibacy, to not sell my body. I'm a high vibrational high priestess. What would I look like doing that? How am I going to help other people heal and I'm exploiting myself? And there's a lot of women who are ready and willing to do that. And to each their own. I will not. Even if it means having to sit at a restaurant all night until money is deposited. Even if it means having to be in very uncomfortable environments, whether that's an uncomfortable household with someone else or an uncomfortable hotel or an uncomfortable Airbnb. Whatever I need to do to navigate through this medical crisis without going backwards into alcoholism, going backwards into pills, which I did back in 2013 when I was exploring the swinging and BDSM lifestyle. The fact that I have no desire to do any of that is a blessing, a major one. Because there was a time when that was my lifestyle. That was the norm. Like, honestly, a lot of people out here do all of that shit. And again, to each their own. I'm not judging the people that do it. It just ain't for me. And I've even had to tell people that tried to offer me that shit. I said, no, I'm good. Cannabis, yeah. Because that aids and helps, and it's natural. It helps with sleep, it helps with pain, it helps with anxiety, PTSD, depression, all things that I manage as a result of trauma and Graves' disease, the autoimmune disease I was born with that causes hyperthyroidism. Yes, I'm an advocate for cannabis, gummies, CBD. Anything outside of that, I'm not fucking with it. Just because you do doesn't mean I have to. The amount of people I've had to tell that to lately has been astounding. It's like, goddamn, all of y'all doing this shit. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need none of that. And even that's healing, that's growth. I'm grateful for that. I don't care to people that call me a square, whatever. I can roll the blunt like nobody's business. I can break down some shit like nobody's business. I don't need no fucking grinder. But when it comes to substances that are chemically altered, I don't fuck with that. I don't even like taking pharmaceutical pills. The only pills I take are nighttime sleep aid, over the counter, dihydramine. That's it. Well, and then the asthma inhaler. So it's like, I look at that. Like I said, I remember when, man, I remember when I drank so much, I blacked out and fell on my face and didn't even remember how the hell I fucked my face up and woke up the next day thinking somebody put hands on me. And my homegirl was like, no, you literally passed out and you fell 3 times when we left the party going from inside the house out to the car. And then when we went to the strip club and I got super drunk and blacked out. I do remember falling then because I fell on the edge of the concrete stairs leading up to the apartment and really fucked myself up. Like I said, I remember all of that. And I thank God that that's not who I am anymore. But it was a decision that I made. The last baby, that was it. Again, I would have never been drinking if I would have known I was pregnant, especially 13 weeks along. So everybody goes through their life experience, you know. You go through situations and you either allow yourself to grow or you keep repeating the same toxic pattern. And when I finally decided to stop repeating the toxic pattern, I actually lost a lot of people. Or, you know, let me not say that. I actually didn't lose anybody. People that I was no longer in alignment with fell away. So, oh, I forgot to put this on subscribers only. Who is this pervert in the chat? Okay, I don't know who you are. Talking about if you don't get the hell up out my chat. But seriously, like, I've had a lot of time to think about these different situations, especially having to explain, you know, 2 different agencies where I'm applying for assistance about how I ended up in this situation and, you know, what happened that led to you going through what you're going through now. And all 3 of the people I talked to today was like, that's a lot. And I had gotten so used to carrying a lot, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, that I didn't realize just how difficult my situation really was until I had to start explaining it and talking to people about it. Because I'm so used to just keep going, score. Because like we'll keep going. We'll just keep going, keep going. And I was like, Lord, thank you. As it's 2:22 on the live clock, it was right at 2 hours, 22 seconds. Thank you, ancestors, for confirming. But seriously, I said, Lord, I just want to thank you in the midst of all of this uncertainty. I want to thank you for strength. I want to thank you for perseverance. I want to thank you for keeping me, my angels, my ancestors, spirit guides. Thank you. Because what I thought was horrible endings truly is realignment. They said, again, we had to keep you in the position that you're in. You had to see these people for who they were. That way they cannot hide behind a mask anymore. They can't pretend anymore. Because when you're down, or when people think you're down, because I don't consider myself down, I'm transitioning. When you're in a place where you need help, that's when people show their true colors. That's when you know who really fucks with you and who doesn't. Thank you, Andrew. And no, I don't want to be on camera. I am tired as hell. My back hurts, my head hurts. I'm sleepy. But I'm grateful because the people that did show up to help me, get everything situated today, I'm grateful for. And it's just like, I also had to recognize a lot of people are in a state of lack. There's people that are perfectly healthy, able to work, have a roof over their head, have family support, that bitch and complain about their lives all the time. And I'm like, I wish we could trade bodies. I wish you could live in this avatar for a good month and experience what it's like to live with an autoimmune disease. And for years, I didn't even know that Graves' disease was an autoimmune disease until I dealt with thyroid cancer. And they were like, yeah, you're born with it. It manifests in your mid to late 20s, and then it's not curable. You just have to manage it. The way that I cure is speaking healing. And I know that all of this, every single situation is necessary. The hurt, the betrayals, the abandonment, the judgment, the lies, the slander, the defamation, it's all necessary. There's no way that I would be as strong as I am today had I not endured all of that and overcame it. It's all necessary. Juanita Wormington. Your name sounds familiar. Have you been on my channel before? Your name sounds really familiar. You might have been here before. Hello, my love. Thank you for the blessings. Blessings to you back. But like, for real, that scripture that says, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, knowing that the trying of your faith works patience, that's the walk I'm on right now as we speak. People always think temptation is sex. No, temptation is giving the fuck up when life is fucked up. Like, that's a temptation. Exploiting yourself to survive. Selling your body to survive. Doing drugs to cope. Drinking to cope. All of those temptations. Giving into darkness. Feeling like God is punishing you when God is doing nothing more than realigning you. Those are all temptations. That's why the Bible says, count it all joy, knowing that the trying of your faith, my faith has been tried over and over and over. And it got to the point I got angry with my angels and ancestors. I said, look, what the hell else y'all want me to prove? Have I not proven that I'm here to do God's will? Why the fuck do I got to keep going through this shit? See, I'm human. I just talk like how I talk. People like, how can you pray and cuss? Fuck you in Jesus' name and get the fuck out of my face. That's what I say to people. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Human being who is also divine. And the human side to me was like, why the fuck do I gotta keep going through this? I'm doing your will. I'm not giving in to evil. I'm not giving in to darkness. I'm doing right by people that ain't did right by me. Like, why does it have to keep being hard? Because this is the journey. Blessed Assurance, song I used to sing in church that my nephew talked about. The lyric says, this is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Blessed assurance, Yeshua is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. That means you going through hell. Literally, that's what that song's about. You going through hell and overcoming it. The other song, I will remain confident in this, I will see the goodness of the Lord. That song, I was listening to that today. See, music is my first love, so after I had my breakdown, I grounded myself by listening to my gospel playlist over and over and over. I listened to that song probably at least 7 or 8 times a day. Everlasting God by William Murphy. That's also a scripture in Psalms. I believe it's Psalms 27, verse 10 through 15. I would have fainted if I would not have believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I will remain confident in this, I will see the goodness of the Lord. The Lord is my light and salvation. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I be afraid? I will wait on you. That's literally what I'm doing. Walking by faith, believing I deserve it, waiting on God, persevering. That is resilience. That is strength. And all these lessons, from exes to fake friends, relatives. Thank you, Andrew. When I tell you I sang that song today in tears, I had that breakdown earlier. I just started singing that song. Started raising my frequency. I was trying to edit, the content that I posted tonight on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And I just stopped and I just kept hearing, be still and know that I am God. Asheo. So I stopped. I stopped doing everything. And I just prayed. I listened to my gospel playlist. I rose my frequency. See, that is the true strength of God. You can't get that strength from religion or a church. You get that strength from going through hell and overcoming it. The gold refined in the fire, the pressed oil, the anointing comes from you going through hell and overcoming it. Touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Any energy that has been rising up against me, let it fall by the wayside immediately and be destroyed, and let chaos and confusion come about their lives, and let death and hell follow their own evil intentions back to them. That's my daily prayer. I know exactly the people that have been sending spiritual attacks, and they've been receiving that shit back immediately. Because my frequency is so high that you cannot touch me. They keep trying. It's not working. Human side, we have moments. I had one today. I was frustrated. I was tired of everything. I was like, plus I'm physically exhausted on top of that. And I was like, Lord, I'm sick of going through this bullshit. I said it just like that out loud. I said, I'm sick of going through this bullshit. Now I know I signed up for this. I know they showed me all of this in heaven. But goddamn, can we get this over with? Can we get to the part of the Monopoly board of my life where it gets better and stays better? Can we get past this? Because I'm going to do your will, so can we get past this? All I kept hearing is my grace is sufficient for you. My answers are like, D, we got you. What people won't do, God will do. Ooh, Asheo. What people won't do, God will do. Confident in this, I will seek the goodness of the Lord. The Lord is my light and salvation. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I be afraid? I will wait on you. I will trust in you. In tears, I sang that. So I said, Lord, thank you for strength. Thank you for the abundance coming in that I've been shown. It's not here yet, it's coming. I declare it, I decree it, I claim it, I deserve it. And that's what I was teaching them on TikTok last night. I pulled out the Golden Mantra card. I ask, I believe, I shall receive. I said, this is manifestation. It's not wishful thinking. It's not begging and pleading. It's, I have endured so much bullshit. I deserve every fucking blessing that I'm due. So, Lord, it's not my time. I'm not in control of the how. I'm not in control of when. This is me surrendering control. But y'all gonna give me what I'm due. And when I say y'all, I mean my spirit team. I'm due some blessings. I'm due some miracles. I'm due some good things manifesting and remaining. And then I jumped on Instagram and all of these spiritual posts. One of them, I think I reshared the last two that really touched my soul because it spoke about perseverance and about the days of heaviness, uncertainty, tests and trials, struggle, all of that's coming to an end. Then I kept seeing angel number 999, endings, transformations, new beginnings. A lot of my so-called friendships, relationships, family-ships are ending. A lot of people are being removed. I thank God for that. As painful as it is, I thank God for it because what that's telling me is that new aligned people are about to enter my life who share my same frequency. That family was the first people I found. And the way we bonded at that last hotel I was at, it was a blessing. We would have fellowship right in the lobby, sitting right there talking about God, talking about faith. And I would notice all the people that would be coming in and out the front desk, just stopping and watching. That night I did the TikTok live down in the lobby over there around 3 o'clock in the morning. The front desk guy, he kept coming and listening. He kept coming, like just kind of watching but trying not to be obvious, like I can't see you watching me. And I was talking then about faith and perseverance. You know, again, the pressed oil. I wouldn't be able to come to all of you with this information about perseverance and resilience if I have not gone through hell myself. Technically still am. You know, like I said, I'm tired. I'm physically exhausted. But there are things that I must do early this morning. So this particular location is a lot closer to where I need to be. And I said, Lord, I thank you for my new home, my permanent home. I thank you for the new contracts. I thank you for my successful surgery. I thank you for my healthy body. I thank you for me being able to go and finally sing and perform live, which I've been asked to do over and over. Shout out, by the way, to Dexterity Talent Group and the CEO, Brent Law. He is an amazing, talented fashion designer and CEO. This man is a Black gay male who is an international boss. And I've been invited to perform next month on an international platform way bigger than YouTube. And this is no shade to the Blue Couch. Please hear me, because I do respect real life Jeff and the Blue Couch. But this opportunity is even bigger than that. And I remember telling y'all that when I was contemplating about whether or not I should go. I actually had planned on going, but then I got sick and I couldn't go. Um, this is going to be on pay-per-view. This is going to be streamed internationally. It's going to be streamed on Amazon, I believe Hulu, and if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if they said Netflix, but it's like a major, major opportunity. And it's just a couple of weeks after my first surgery. And I said, Lord, that one I want to do. That's going to get me the opportunities that I have been seeking for my artistry, because I am an artist. I write my music. I've even made my own beats, my own melodies. I sing, like, I'm an artist. Music is my first love. And to be broadcasted on multiple international streaming platforms is way bigger than YouTube. And Brent Law has been, I met him at the casting call for Flip, and shout out to the Freestyle King, by the way, shout out to Flip. The video shoot that I did with him and Corey with the Keys last June. I met Brent Law at the casting call. I didn't even know. Look at 1111 on the live. Shout out to y'all, me 11 likes. So I got a document in my angel number journal 222444 and 1111. I didn't even know that he was who he was when I met him, because he was so down to earth. And then after I met him, when I told like people that I know locally, they said, dude, he's like an international CEO. Like, and you met him? I said, yeah. He follows me, I follow him, and I've let him know, hey, I don't want to be at the events. I need to have surgery, and I've been going through a lot. And he even invited me to be a vendor at events. So that's what I mean. Like, I have my own goals, you guys, that I legit want to manifest and fulfill. And I want to do that for me. I don't have shit to prove to anybody. It's to prove myself that all the obstacles, the medical crisis, all of this, that it was not going to stop me from fulfilling my goals and my dreams. That is literally what I want to teach my future daughter. And I keep seeing her. I keep seeing me holding her, me and her father together, as a family. And then my son comes after her. And I finally have my own little family. And I have, in these premonitions, I have already achieved my own goals before I even get married. So that is what I want to fulfill before the end of 2026. I want to perform at that upcoming event. I want to be known on these platforms. The premonition of me telling my story when I am doing my movie premiere for Gog versus Magog, my movie. I'm doing a movie, a documentary, and an animated series. When I'm finally presenting all of this, I'm telling people about exactly what I'm going through as we speak. And even with my album, Revelation of D, that I'm finishing up, like when I'm presenting that, my EP, I'm telling people about this part of the journey, the hardships, the challenges, the people that I expected to support that didn't, the people that left me hanging, lied, slandered, defamed, betrayed, all of that. That's why if your journey is hard right now, it's because God is using you. You are the example. You are the example of perseverance. You are the example of walking by faith. Religious people can say it all day. I'm actually living it daily. Daily, I have no idea where money's coming from. I have no idea a lot of times where I'm going to lay my head. And again, I've never lived like this. I've always had multiple jobs. I've always had my own place. I've always been the one helping everybody, not just my relatives, friends too. Like, I've been there for everyone. And God was like, it's time for you to be there for yourself. It's time for you to take care of you. Stop trying to take care of everybody else and take care of you. That's also why they're making me go through this. Because if I was in a position of wealth, I would have been given to the wrong people. So as much as it hurts, I thank God for that. Again, count it all joy. I thank God for that. Lord, thank you for showing me. I asked you to reveal to me deception. I didn't think it was going to be every fucking body. Like, goddamn. I didn't think it was going to be everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean the people that I've carried in my spirit calling friends. Like, all these motherfuckers was fake? Okay, well, shit. That sucks, but thank you. And then thank you for revealing to me the ones who weren't, which are less than a handful. Literally. So I really hope those of you that listen, that are on the live now and that listen to the replay, I hope that if you're in a season of what feels like bullshit, if you're in a season of what feels like punishment, I hope that you are inspired by my journey. I hope that what I share with you guys inspires you to keep going. I hope that your faith increases. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. If I would not have had that experience where I died and went to heaven, I definitely would have gave up, like, way before now. I definitely would have went back to old toxic ways and lifestyles because that was my coping mechanism. But experiencing heaven, experiencing the Most High God, experiencing the bliss of it, it's everything. And I know that if I do fulfill my mission on this planet, my ultimate reward is going back and staying there. I did tell the angels that. I said, please don't send me back to Earth anymore after this time. I hate this planet. And the only reason why I hate it is because it's so Luciferian. That scripture, Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. That is planet Earth. And of course, other dimensions, but definitely this planet. This is a planet where Lucifer and the fallen angels were hurled to earth out of heaven. And they showed me that when I died and went to heaven. So, yes, I'm powerful, but I still don't like feeling that frequency. I would much rather be in the frequency of eternal bliss. So once I fulfill my spiritual mission, I'll have that. Shout out to y'all in the chat, by the way. I appreciate y'all. Andrew, thank you, my good brother. I've been praying for you and your wife, and I hope she's doing better. I hope her health is getting better. I want you guys to not give up. Don't give up on God because you're going through a test. Like I just said this earlier. Even after I had my breakdown, I said, as I was talking to my stepsister, who I love dearly, she's been extremely supportive. I was crying or whatever. I said, I know this is just a test. I know it is. Deep down, I know that's what this is. This is not, your current situation is not your destination. And I spoke about that on TikTok last night. So if you're going through a season of uncertainty, a lot of people are. A lot of people are losing jobs right now, losing finances, losing relationships. Let it go. Literally let go and let God. God's realigning you. The reason you've lost those jobs is because God has something better for you. And a lot of us are going to start reaping the better for us. But it only can manifest through you walking by faith. And faith truly is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Meaning, even with my spiritual gifts, they don't show me everything. And I get frustrated. How come y'all show me all this about everybody else, but you won't show me how my situation is going to work out? And my ancestors said, then you wouldn't be walking by faith if we showed you all of it. I said, okay, that makes sense. I got all these gifts. You keep showing me my future, but you won't show me how it's going to work out. Again, it wouldn't be faith if they showed me how. That's God's job. It's God's job to figure out the how. It's my job to believe. That is faith. Not a church, not a religion, the walk the journey, your life, choosing to have faith in the midst of adversity, choosing to have faith in the midst of challenges, choosing to have faith when everything's falling apart. And technically, when it's falling apart, it's actually falling into place, it's aligning. The breakdown always leads to the breakthrough, always. So you just have to be in a frequency. One of the cards I pulled says, I'm unlearning lack and scarcity. Abundance is a frequency I vibe on. I don't even have my cards with me, and I remember them because they're golden mantra cards. I pulled that out. So many people on that TikTok live was like, oh my God, that's resonating. Oh my God, that's speaking to me. There's like, can I take a screenshot? Yes, absolutely. I want you to remember this. Lack and scarcity isn't just money, it's lack of faith. Praying but worrying, praying but having fear, praying but doubting. That's scarcity. Believing that things are never going to get better. That's scarcity. Always saying that you're broke, always saying that things are not going to get better and it's just going to get worse and worse. I know the devil is a lie. I'm not going to speak that shit over my life just because you don't have faith. My life is getting better and better every day, even when things have not manifested, even when things feel horrible, even when I don't feel well, when things go left. I am in expectation of abundance because I fucking deserve it. Period. I know I deserve it. This is also why toxic people from the past keep trying to pull me back into the past, keep trying to hold me to my past. I remember when you did XYZ, and I see you right where the fuck I was. And let me address that. How are you judging me for some shit I did in the past that you're currently doing? Can we make that make sense? I own my past, every part of it. But you're currently doing what I did and judging me. That's you. That's called a projection. That is you projecting your unhealed energy onto me, because the healed version of me is a mirror of the unhealed versions of you. So instead of projecting, work on your healing. Because when you start healing, you won't project anymore. It's just that simple. So I just wanted to get on and just talk. No readings, none of that. Just talk with y'all, because I know it's been a minute. And I am growing my platform on TikTok. And I'm not gonna lie, TikTok, some parts of it is fun, especially when you do like the battles or whatever. But I've been a lot more focused on the healing and the reading, because there's so many people on that platform. It feels like when I first started this channel, when you all first came, especially, those of y'all that have been rocking with me for a year or two, it feels like that all over again, like brand new energies, seeking guidance, seeking healing, seeking clarity, and I can provide that for them. The problem with TikTok though is, like, I'm realizing a lot of these people be expecting you to give them, they really take advantage of spiritual workers, like for real. They really expect you to just do all this work for free. And can I get a free reading? Can you tell me about my relationship? No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. You don't need to pay for my services like everybody else. So that's the only downside to it, is that culture is to pushing boundaries and seeing, what they can get for free. And then I'll even put like a pin a comment, DM me for your clarity session or your private reading, whatever. They'll send me 11 DMs. Don't want to pay for shit. I'm like, look, no. So I've had to learn the boundaries, because as much as I want to help people, here's the thing everybody needs to understand. Empaths, we feel all of your feelings, literally. Whatever you are feeling, we physically feel it. Clairvoyance, we see into the future, but I also have the gift of telepathy, so I hear your thoughts and your conversations. And as a psychic medium, I channel without trying to. I wish to God I could turn it off. I really do. Sometimes I hate that I'm able to channel so well, because a lot of times I don't want to. I don't want to channel people that are in darkness and be battling they damn demons, even though I can. So there's a reason we charge for our services, because it does take from us, it does affect us. And then we have to rebuild ourselves up, regenerate, cleanse our energy, all of that. So when I tell people that I don't do readings for free, there's a reason for that. When I tell you that I don't do sessions for free, unless I offer it to you, there's a reason for that. The people, even consultations I've had over the past couple of months, one of them, we were speaking about his family, childhood trauma, and I channeled his sister and channeled that she was sexually abused from the ages of 2 on up. Then I felt all of her pain, and it made me bawl. Like, I was bawling. I felt her. I felt every ounce of pain that that young girl, and she's damn near my age now, but that the young version of her endured. I had to stop the session for a few minutes and like get myself together, because I felt everything she felt. And then he told me that did happen to her. I keep telling people I'm not no TikToker, reader out there hitting licks. I'm a true spiritualist. Everything about you, I'm going to feel, I'm going to see, and I'm going to hear. And I will do everything I can to help you heal. But it definitely affects true spiritualists. It really does. So I think when it comes to TikTok, there's going to have to be a certain balance. I know they really enjoy me going live so much, and a lot of people will put in the chat, that they thank God that I'm on TikTok. Thank God I came across your live. This is resonating. Thank you for the spiritual advice. Thank you for doing this. And it's like, that's awesome, but y'all stop taking advantage of me on TikTok for real. Stop sending me DMs asking me for sessions for free. I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not at all. Andrew said, we miss you. I miss y'all too. That's why I decided to get on here tonight and talk. I just don't feel like being on camera because I'm exhausted. I have been up since 8:30 yesterday morning and had to move my stuff by myself 3 times. But I thank God I got it to my storage. And I'm going to see how the rest of this morning goes. Throughout it all, I trust God. Oh, I hear my auntie singing. Oh, I love you, Auntie Mary. Thank you for showing up, my love. Through it all, I learned to trust in Jesus. I learned to trust in His word. Through it all, she used to always sing that. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. I miss you so much. I can feel her hugging me. That was my heart. My Auntie Mary was my everything. She truly was my second mom, even before I met Elissa and her mom. Her love, her heart is why I am the way that I am. Of course, there's moments I get sad, but there's actually more moments I feel joy every time I feel her energy. I still feel her love like she's alive. But she used to always sing that song. Through it all. Through it all, I learned to depend upon His word. Yep, a lot of my album is going to be gospel music. The chorus is going to be, and for those that don't know, yes, I can rap. Some of my songs are going to be raps, R&B. I'm a Scorpio, so I got, my scorpionic energy. But I'm also a spiritualist, so I'm writing gospel songs too, since that is how I learned to sing, was growing up in church, especially hearing my auntie sing. Hey, Gemini Aunt. Good to see you, Grand Rising. I be forgetting I'm in the South. Just hearing other people talk. They always be like, where are you from? You got an accent. And I feel like all of them got accents. But yeah, my Auntie Mary singing. Boy, I'm telling you. My auntie bring down the whole church. She would sing at home. And it would feel like we was in a church service. We'd be in the living room, her, my uncle, my mom, me, my siblings, all the foster cousins, my cousins, just no TV. And it wasn't that we couldn't watch TV, but that was back when we didn't have smartphones. Matter of fact, for those of y'all that are seasoned as me, y'all know when cell phones first got invented. Damn, that makes me feel like a dinosaur. But I'm talking about before cell phones even were invented, when we still had corded phones where you wrapped the cord of the phone around your finger. Yeah, talking about back in them days when we just sat around as a family and spent time. No phone, no computer, none of that. Just family together. That's why my love of family is the way it is, because of my aunt and uncle. I loved when we would go to their house for Thanksgiving or for Christmas or for birthdays, and we would just come together. I remember when my Auntie Mary, and my Auntie Mary has always been thick. I remember when my Auntie Mary was out there doing double dutch with us, hopscotch with us, foursquare with us, analog stuff. Jacks. We would play jacks in the driveway. Because again, we were church kids. So, we did stuff like that. I remember when my parents, uh, look, Andrew, speak for yourself. We not old, we seasoned. I don't claim being old. I'm seasoned. You speak for yourself, Andrew. But for real, like I remember that jump rope, double dutch, foursquare, hopscotch, playing jacks, playing cards. And then when the parents all played spades and got all emotional about reneging and stuff, like when we just spent time as family. And I was talking with the young lady that I met, the wife of the family. I said, "Girl, do you remember them typewriters?" She just started busting out laughing. I said, "Remember the tap, tap, tap?" And then you had to slide the little thing to get to the next line, and then the old school printers that printed everything out in all green, the IBM computers, all the old technology, pagers. I asked my nephews if they knew what a pager was. They was like, "A pager?" I'm like, God, y'all don't know what nothing is. All y'all know is smartphones and social media. Y'all are not gonna be able to live without none of this shit. The walkie-talkies. What's a walkie-talkie? I'm like, oh my God, y'all don't know nothing. But again, this is all the technology that we're going to need when it's time to come off the grid when they implement this Mark of the Beast system. So I still, I still say that the 80s was the best generation because we're analog kids. Erica Badu's song, Analog Girl in a Digital World, that is me verbatim. And it's like, my auntie and my uncle, they truly showed us what family is supposed to be. I forever cherish them. They're both here right now. I just heard my uncle say, "Hey, daughter." I asked my mom, I said, "Why do Auntie and Uncle James always call me daughter?" She said, "Because they see all of y'all as they kids, even though they're your aunt and uncle, you know." So I honor them. I honor all of my ancestors, both sides of my family, but those two I miss the most because they are the reason that I have the heart that I have. And they're honestly the reason I survived a lot of things in my childhood. My auntie was my safe place that I could go to when my mom was abusive. And my mom doesn't see the things that she did as abuse because of how she was raised. Keeping in mind, my grandmother picked cotton. So the slave mentality was very strong. That force was strong in our family. Um, Beating children with the cat o' nine and a whip, yeah, that's, switch all of that. That was normal to them. That's not normal. That's abuse. So my auntie Mary was my safe place. Her and my grandma Rodriguez on my dad's side, they were my safe place. So was Elissa and her mom. They were all my safe place. So I thank God that Elissa's mom is still in the land of the living. And we actually just talked earlier today. And she said, I'm worried about you. I said, Mom, Diane, don't worry about me. Just keep praying for me. I don't need the energy of worry. Let's raise the frequency to abundance. Instead of worry, let's replace that with abundance and favor. So, like I said, I just wanted to just talk with y'all. That's all. I just wanted to talk with y'all and let y'all know, as much as people are saying things are about to get worse, not for the chosen. The first shall be last, the last shall be first. The righteous inherit the earth. Literally, that is the shift. The pyramid is shifting. We are the chosen. We are the walking manifestation of the Most High God. And we are also living in the tribulation right now. So remember what the Bible said. For in the last days perilous times shall come. For men will be lovers of themselves, boasting, sacrificing, and idolatry. Me and her even talked about that. She knew who Molech was. I said, girl, get out. I said, you gotta watch my YouTube channel. Because the way I deep dive about Molech and Baphomet, she knew about all of that. I said, what are the chances? After all that time I had been staying at that hotel, I didn't meet them until, what was it, a week and a half before I left? I mean, she knew all of it and more. We were comparing notes, comparing. I said, girl, I'll be showing all of this on my channel. Like, I'll be going live, sharing screen and showing them what I'm talking about. So again, everywhere I go, I find my people. That's another go to mantra card that kept coming out in my TikTok live. I didn't understand why God even had me at that hotel, because I was in a whole part of town I ain't never been in, like way opposite side of town than from where I had been staying. And it was when I met them that I understood that's why God brought me here. I keep telling y'all, everywhere God takes me, there is always somebody that the Most High God has me come in contact with that I always end up talking to them about God. Always. And this time it wasn't people I had to teach or coach or try to convince, because they were already on my frequency. That was my actual prayer, was to align me with people that are already on my frequency. Now, yes, they do still have some religious undertones, understandably. I've been realigning myself with spirituality for over 2 decades. So people who are just still in that transition, of course, they're still going to have some religious, conditioning. But the fact that she knew all of that on her own and had already been researching and studying it, I was like, man. I mean, we was talking, like, both passionate about it. Her husband was just laughing. He was like, man, I said, bruh, I done met some kin folks, some spiritual kin folk. Like, y'all know what's up. And we, even though I had, left from there, we still be in touch, even today. And, I just, like I said, every part of this journey has a divine purpose, even the fucked up parts. It always ends up leading to some divine destiny. So, Lord, I thank you. Anyhow, hallelujah. Anyhow, I was listening to that song by Ty Tribbett. No matter what comes my way, hallelujah. Anyhow, until my night turns to day, hallelujah. Anyhow. And then the bridge. He said, storm is here, but I'm asleep on the boat. Oh, how does it go? Because this other song in the background's playing that's distracting me from the melody. But he said, hit keeps coming after hit, trying to make me think that this is it. Got this war going on in my mind. trying to make me think my faith is counterfeit. Oh no, certain days it feel like my faith is running low, but it's a mustard seed, so I must believe in what I sow. Really had to be going through some shit to write that song. Cause see, I'm an artist, so I listen to the lyrics. It's the lyrics that resonate with me. I love that song. Cause yeah, that's the bridge. He said, "Hit keeps coming after hit." Got me thinking maybe this is it. Got this war going on in my mind, trying to make me think my faith is counterfeit. Whoa, no. Certain days it feel like my faith is running low, but it's a mustard seed, so I believe in what I sow. Sow in tears, what you water will grow. Never fear, it's all under control. The storm is here, but I'm asleep on the boat. Oh, yes, everything I went through, I knew I would be blessed. Try to pull me down, but I see the mark, so I press. Christ brought me out so many times, why stress? I'ma sing hallelujah anyhow through the test. I love that song so much. In that scripture, I press towards the mark of the high calling of God. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, knowing that the trying of your faith works patience, so let patience have her perfect work. When I had my emotional breakdown earlier today, that was a scripture that came to me. And I knew right then and there my ancient ancestors were speaking to me. Keep going, D. We got you. I heard that loud and clear. I was like, I'm tired. I'm tired of going through all of this. I'm tired of people betraying me. I'm tired of people talking shit. I'm tired of people leaving me hanging, lying, slandering, defaming, ignoring me. They said, do you not remember what Christ went through? The cross wasn't the physical cross. It was the betrayal. There's a reason that Yeshua went out into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights by himself. Purple Flower, good to see you, my love. Grand Rising. There's a reason. I would not be surprised if I found out that Christ was a Scorpio. Because we actually really do get our strength in our solitude. That's why we like being alone. And I was laughing because I remember, shout out to my girl Mercy. I remember when she was talking about, I think it was last year on one of her lives, because she's a reader too. And she said, in order for me to want to marry you, I have to really enjoy your company more than I enjoy my own. That's some real shit though. Because we find so much peace in our solitude. We don't want nobody coming around fucking that up. And it's like, yeah, you talking about marriage, I gotta really like your ass. You know, about being around you every day. And I love my solitude and I love being by myself. Yeah, there's sometimes I want some company, but a lot of times I like being by myself because there's so much peace in it. And I thought about that when I was talking to someone recently about marriage. I was like, I gotta really like you. I mean, like, because I see marriage as a partnership. That means look, we around each other every day. You're gonna have to understand that I like being alone, and it ain't nothing personal. It ain't I'm mad at you. It ain't that I got an attitude. That's where we regenerate. Scorpios regenerate and get our strength in solitude. That scripture that says, build yourself up on your most holy faith, I do that when I'm by myself. Because if I'm around other people, I'm going to feel everything about you. I'm going to hear your thoughts. I'm going to channel your energy and don't want to, and then be taking on all of your shit. So the thought of being around somebody every day, yeah, we got to be definitely equally yoked and compatible, because when I want to be alone, you got to understand that that's just me and not take it personal. When I was with my ex-girlfriend, she did not understand that. We lived together, we worked together, we did everything together. And I didn't know that that's how lesbians were, because I'm bi. I didn't know lesbians just everything, like, they do together. And I was like, can I just be at home by myself without you thinking I'm cheating on you because I'm in here singing and writing music and playing my video game? I'm a huge gamer. I love arcade games. She would always be like, well, are you talking to somebody else? I'm in here singing. The fuck, what are you talking about? Well, that's what I mean, like stuff like that. I don't like that suffocating gotta be around you 24/7 because you're insecure. Like, let me do me, I'm gonna let you do you, and then we're gonna come together and still love each other. And so just having that conversation about marriage, it was hilarious. She's like, yeah, you a real Scorpio. I said, for real though. Look, I can love you and love you and love you, but let me breathe, goddamn shit. Let me breathe. Let me have my time and space to myself, especially when it comes to music, because when I'm going through a lot is when I write the best music. I just wrote, what, 3 songs yesterday? So it's like, you know, let me do me, man. And I'm still be here when I'm done. We would be in the apartment. We had a 1-bedroom. She always liked to chill in the living room, watch her shows. Some shows I didn't like, so I'd watch my shows in the bedroom. And then when it was time to go to bed, we went to bed, cuddled, did whatever. And I was like, why is that not enough for you? Why do I got to be underneath you 24/7? And I realized later it was because she was dealing with mental health issues that neither one of us knew she had. But then also just sign compatibility. Leos can be super loving, but also really super clingy. And usually Scorpios, we're labeled as clingy. It's not that we're clingy, it's that we are intense. So if we love you, we really, really love you. We want to show you that abundantly all the time. And then when we want to be alone, we want to be alone. No love lost. It's just, that's us, So I feel like when it comes to marriage and partnership, it needs to be compatibility, meaning let's be friends first. Let's spend time together around each other. Let's spend the night together for several nights. Let's make sure that we are cool and that you can still be yourself and I can still be me and there's no drama. That's the perfect relationship for me. I can still be my individual self. You can still be your individual self. And then we come together. Not, we got to be tied at the hip because one person has abandonment issues and so they're overly attached and are always assuming that something's going on when it's not. One thing I can honestly say is that I've never cheated on anybody I've been with. Even when I've been cheated on, what I will do is I will leave you first. I'm not going to cheat on you. You probably just might come home and me and all of my shit is gone. But whether it was a man or a woman, every relationship I've been in, I've been faithful. Scorpios in love, we are the most loyal sign there is. We will literally walk through hell with you and still be there. So it's like the people that have, been trying to holler, trying to talk or whatever, especially these motherfuckers in the industry who keep thinking that every woman wants money, especially these niggas in Atlanta. All these women want is money. No, there's women out here that actually just want you. The women that want money are hoes. They're transactional. That's why you don't get anywhere with them, because that's all they want. But women that actually want you for you don't care about your money. Now, I do believe a man must be a provider. And I believe that both parties provide. That's what I saw with my mom and my stepdad. They both worked, contributed. My auntie was taken care of. I've tried that, especially in my last relationship. And it was cool for a couple of months, and then it wasn't because I'm so used to being independent and self-sufficient, and I don't like being controlled, especially when a nigga tries to use money to control me. So it's yeah, I can't be no kept wife because I'm just used to being independent. But what I do believe is that both partners take care of each other, whether it's male and female, female and female, male and male. You're supposed to take care of each other. It's a partnership. And I know exactly what I want. And I know I'm not willing to settle for less. For what? As much time and energy and space that I've given to my healing, that I'm still giving to my healing. I settled for less in my younger years. I settled for less in my past. Now I refuse. Even in my current situation. See, and that's another thing I want to speak on. people who have tried to date me that knew what I was going through but offered no support and no help. And then when I didn't want to deal with you anymore, you went out and talked shit about me and then wondered why I didn't want to date you because I knew you was a fuck nigga in the first place. A real man seeing a woman go through a transition, especially due to a medical issue, is not finna try to exploit her, take advantage of her, and then just run because I don't want to give you no ass. Because there's been more than one of y'all that have done that, which is why I'm addressing it. How come I don't hear from you no more? Because you're not worthy to. When you walk in worth, it's very simple to cut people off once they show you that they're not worthy of you. Why should I waste my time with you when your frequency is lower than mine and you are making a conscious decision not to work on your healing? We're not equally yoked. We're not aligned. I'm not wasting my time. Too old for that. So I already know who my divine masculine is. I already know him. I've already met him. I've already spent time with him. I'm waiting for God to align us. And he keeps sending me energetic messages and stuff. I keep channeling him without trying to. So that lets me know I'm in his energy. And I just want him to be prepared healing wise. See, two individuals that are healed are a very powerful dynamic. It's hard when only one person's doing the work to heal. And those were relationships that I had in my past. My last ex, when he came back last year, he was like, the reason I never stopped loving you is because when everybody else gave up on me, you didn't. When I lost my job, you lifted me up, you prayed for me, you prayed with me, you took me to church, because that's when I was still going to that church in Fort Walton Beach. And he was like, you held me down, you did everything you could to manifest resources, to, help out. He was like, you was really down for me, and the woman I cheated on you with, she used me. I said, I already told you that was going to happen because I already had a premonition about it. So everything you tell, I told you that was going to happen. Like, I literally told you, I saw it. He was like, you always tell me the truth even if I don't want to hear it, and you always was there. And then he turned right around and fucked it up. Lying. Still dealing with the chick. Got upset when I called him one night. I said, how are you coming back in my life asking me to marry you over my birthday weekend 11 times and you still doing the same hoe ass shit? And then you wonder why I told you I didn't trust your intentions coming back in my life. You're not going to hide nothing from me because my spirituality is even more evolved than it was when we were together. My healing is more advanced than when we were together. And he was like, well, I can't be friends with you because I'm still in love with you. Okay, that's fine. You feel the need to block me, whatever. You do whatever you got to do. I'm good. I said, one thing you showed me is that we're definitely not meant to get back together and you have not healed. He thought it was his money was going to buy my affection, and it didn't. He paid for everything, was trying to buy me a house, have me move from Houston. I was like, I already did that. I moved from Houston with you in 2018. Went to Mobile for 6 months, then went to Fort Walton, and you cheated the entire time. I'm not doing that again. I don't trust you. Let me prove to you can trust me. Okay, I'll give you a chance. Within these 3 weeks, I'm going to see if you've changed. It only took 3 weeks to realize that he had not. Why am I going to waste my time? Because you're in love with me. I'm not in love with you. I was very honest. Now, some people would say that's mean. No, what am I going to lie to you for? I'm not in love with you. I'm not going to pretend like I am. I have love for you as a father of my child. I always will. I hope that you're going to be well, but I don't want to marry you. Again, most women in my situation would have gone with that just so that he would have kept paying for things and then lied and cheated on him. That's what he was used to. even with the woman that he cheated on me with, that's exactly what she did to him. And that's what he was used to. That's what he felt he was worthy of. I said, I'm not going to do that to you. So if your help is contingent upon me marrying you, then you may as well stop, because I'm not going to marry you. Then had the audacity to tell me to pay him back. I said, that I will not do. I lost your child. I held you down. You can kiss my black ass before you think I'm finna pay you back for shit. The next day, he was like, you know what? I realized that was fucked up. I said, yeah, it was. I said, and you want to be my husband? Talking about paying you back for you offering help that I didn't ask for? Again, like, people be wanting to get married just because they want to have trauma bonds. You're not husband material. And as much as I know it probably hurt him to hear that, I had to just be honest. You're not husband material. You were a very valuable lesson that I'm grateful for. That relationship is what led to my healing. That's when I started to go to my therapist regularly, worked with my life coach every day. And in fact, I worked with 2 life coaches. That's how I found out narcissistic personality disorder and the traits of a narcissist, the cycle, the love bombing, the gaslighting, then the devalue and discard cycle. And then when you go no contact, their ego's affected. Then a few months later, they come back, they repeat the cycle. It's like, that shit's exhausting, bro. Especially him being 54 fucking years old. You're way too be doing this shit. So even that, I was like, what was the purpose in him coming back into my life? My ancestors said he needed to see how healed you were, and so did you. That was a test. Because the whole time that we were re-engaging, like talking on the phone, spending time, when he came for my birthday, and yet, although it was good to see him, something in me was like, this doesn't feel right. This man is every day asking me to marry him, trying to pressure me to leave and go with him, and let's run off and get married. I'm like, I'm not even there. He was like, you don't love me anymore? I said, not romantically. I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess he thought I was going to lie to him or whatever. He was like, well, at least you told me the truth. I was like, I mean, that's what I do. The reason I'm bringing that up is because, one, he's been in my energy a lot. Probably watching now. I already been said I forgive you. The way that you handled me, the way that you left things, the really fucked up way you handled that situation is why I cannot allow you back in my life, even as a friend. It's not a grudge. It's me protecting myself and my energy and my peace, which is something I didn't know how to do when we were together before, because I wasn't healed like this at all. At my age, I crave peace. I want it every day. So anybody that is talking about wanting to be with me, you need to already be at peace within yourself. Please don't ask me to be your peace, because that means you're going to bring me hell. Any man that's like, girl, I want you to be my peace, you are not healed. Hell nah. You should be at peace by yourself already and be adding to that, not looking for me to provide that for you. So divine feminine women, we tend to be content being single. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really content being celibate no more. I definitely considered breaking my celibacy a couple of times over these past few months, but then I realized that both of the people that were trying to get me to break my celibacy were not worthy of me at all. It's like, divine masculine, get your shit together so you can get this good goddess pussy. I swear to God. Like, get your shit together. Because I'm so tired of being celibate, but I refuse to give myself to somebody who is not healed. And I know my worth now more than I ever have. So really, quite honestly, I am waiting for my divine masculine to get his shit together. I could be out doing me. Lord knows I could. I'm single. I just don't have a desire to. I don't want a soul tie to someone that I know I don't have a future with and to someone whose frequency is lower than mine, because sex is a soul tie. And once you engage in sex, your soul is tied to that person, even if you feel like it's just fucking. That's why you be carrying energies that you don't understand, because that person has dumped their soul into yours. Even if it's friends with benefits, it's the same shit. That's why the person I was considering doing the friends with benefits, we talked about it, we flirted or whatever, did our little sexy phone calls, whatever. But then I was like, let me watch him. Let me watch how he engages on social media. Let me watch his energy, not what he's saying. Let me watch him. It only took a couple of weeks for me to realize, nope, not at all. So, all of these things, these different experiences, romantic, friendships, familial, career, everything's been divinely orchestrated to get me to be at the place of healing that I'm at right now. And I'm extremely grateful for it. Extremely. So, divine feminine, because I know I'm not the only one on this live. Hold it down. Do not let an unhealed man or woman enter your frequency that is not worthy of you. You will regret it. To be honest, the last experience that I had over 2 years ago, actually, it's been officially 2 years and 2 months, going on actually 2 years and 3 months. The last experience that I had was with the father of the baby I lost on Mother's Day. We, like I said, we've been knowing each other almost 15 years. We know each other. We know each other's bodies and all of that. I was very vulnerable. It was right after my dad's birthday, my dad that passed away. He was in town. We hanging out, kicking it, reminiscing about old times, talking about my family, my nieces and nephews. Like he literally was around when my second niece was turning 2. So I mean, he's been around my family a long time. My niece just turned 16 last month, and I was showing him her picture a couple of years ago. He's like, I can't believe she's so big, you know. And we were definitely drinking. I was vulnerable. One thing led to another. And while it was physically good, the next day I completely regretted it. And I told him, I said, we can't ever do this again. One, because his feelings were much deeper than mine. I had no desire to get back together. Two, because I still saw how unhealed he was. That was the regret that I gave. I broke my celibacy with someone who really wasn't worthy. And it was more of, man, I shouldn't have broke my celibacy. Because if I'm gonna do that, he needs to be worthy of that. And so this Mother's Day, he was in town, and I was grieving because, again, we lost our baby on Mother's Day in 2012. And that pregnancy, we did know I was pregnant. We confirmed multiple tests, and then I actually went to the hospital, and he went with me, and the doctor was like, yes, you're pregnant. I told both of our families, and then I was 8 to 9 weeks when I lost our baby. And every one of my miscarriages, I saw my babies in the 5D and held them and saw what they looked like and everything. And we would have had a girl, and she would have looked identical to him. And so that's why Mother's Day for me is such a horrible day. And even to this day, it hurts, And all I wanted was comfort. He wanted to have sex. He made that very clear. That he's like, I miss you. I miss, because it's not just sex with you, it's healing. And I was like, considering it. I already know him. Hell, might as well. And then I was like, other part of me was like, don't do that shit. Because you're going to regret it again. And instead of him being supportive and comforting, when I expressed that I was disappointed that he didn't come to just give comfort, that he was only wanting to come for sex, the narcissistic shit, the reaction, the gaslighting. And in that very moment, I said, Lord, thank you for protecting me from making another mistake. Because how are you right in town and you don't come to give me comfort on the day of our baby's memorial, which is Mother's Day? And I've lost 4 other babies before. I lost 2. Wait a minute. I lost 2 before we had our miscarriage. I lost another one after him, before me and my last ex got together. So it's like, that this is a hard day. And all I wanted was just for you to come, just give comfort, just hug me, like, just be there. Why does it always have to be about sex with you? Why is it you're only going to come if we're going to fuck? Like, I just needed you to be there. And you chose not to come, claiming that, well, gas is high and you're away on the other side of town and blah, blah, blah. And I thought about this. My ex from Atlanta drove 25 hours from Philly all the way here to come see me. And he's a truck driver. And he's 9.5 years older than me. The father of my Mother's Day baby is 9 years younger than me. Or 9.5 years younger than me. So it's like, nigga, you right here in town and want to act like driving from one part of, now I know Houston's big, but it's just the comparison. Like, you're right here. And because I told you I didn't want to have sex, you decided not to come comfort, but yet telling me how you're still in love with me, blah, blah, blah. And how you're not happy in your relationship and you wish we would have been together. Well, that's not going to happen at all. And all I needed was for you to just be there to comfort. And instead of him acknowledging that, the gaslighting, well, I had to do this and I had to do that, and I'm not going to come just all the way out there just for that. And yeah, I expressed that I wanted to have sex, but blah, blah, blah. No, it's a different story now because I told you I don't want to fuck you. So that's what I mean. When I look at like relationships and marriage, this is why a man being healed and already spiritual on his own is so important to me. A man who's doing healing is sexier to me than a man with a whole bunch of money, because niggas with money that are not healed are nothing but a rich headache. Literally. You're just a headache. And your ego is out of control because of your money, which is why you're by yourself. So it's like when he found out about the celebrity that I had spent time with and, stay the night with, and how he was like, and he didn't try to fuck you? I said, he wanted to. I mean, hell, we talked about it. We both wanted to fuck. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just as attracted to him as he is to me. But I told him I was celibate. So he gave me intimacy. Yes, his dick was hard. Yes, I was horny. We didn't have sex. We literally held each other. I gave him a massage, a tantric massage, put him to sleep. He woke up, held me all night, told me that he loved the fact that I was celibate. He's like, I'm glad you're not out in the streets like all these other women. I love that you're spiritual. I'm not trying to pressure you. I was like, how is it that a celebrity who gets pussy thrown at him could give me intimacy and you're the father of my child and all you want to do is fuck. And then you don't even help or look out. You've helped out, I would say, probably about 6 or 7 times over the past, what, 4 years. But every time you're in town, you feel entitled to fuck because I'm the mother of your child. I was like, do you not see the contrast here? The reason that he's like, well, I know all these different artists and rappers are going to be after you. Well, because I'm different. I'm not like these other women out here. Nothing like them. And I don't give a shit about that. I don't. So it's like both of my exes came back in my life for a reason. Those were tests. I passed the test. I'm not going back to the past. I'm not settling for less. I know what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. I don't care what my circumstance is right now. It's not going to stay like this. I already know that. I've already seen it. So it's my job to keep walking by faith, not settle for less, and keep walking in my worth. This is how I'm able to provide the heart and soul sessions. I've been doing the work. Literally. And I can pick up on it like that. Every single one of these people that have reached out to me, who I have had conversations with, one lady in particular, she said, I just don't understand. He keeps coming back into my life. She had booked a mini reading one time. She said, he keeps coming back in my life and then ghosting me. He comes back in my life and blocks me. I said, because he has a main chick and you're the side chick. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. He has somebody at home that he's dealing with, and you're the chick on the side. That's why he does that to you. I kid you not. She DM'd me last week and said she found out he was married. I said, I told you. Keep telling people my gifts are real. I said, I told you. That's what whole ass men do. They make you feel like, they're everything, and then all of a sudden they ghost you out of nowhere and disappear and give you some bullshit ass excuse, and then you find out later that they're dealing with other people. I said, so it's your job to focus. You're focused on him when you should be focused on you. Focus on you healing, not what he's doing. Self-love is the highest degree of love. When you vibrate that, you attract better in life. So for the TikTokers that have subscribed to my channel that were asking questions about the heart and soul sessions, well, technically this is one. These are the things we talk about. And I'm going to show you exactly how to walk in your worth, how to elevate your frequency, and how to stop settling for less. Stop blaming the other person for you allowing them to come in and out your life and treat you like shit. What you allow is what will continue. It's just that simple. I learned the hard way from past relationships. I guess I shouldn't say the hard way. I had my lessons. I'll say that. I had my lessons and my blessings. The lessons that led to blessings. And the biggest blessing is self-love and self-worth. And my worth is not determined by my circumstances. My worth is not determined by the amount of money I have or the amount of followers or any of that bullshit. My worth is determined by my ability to persevere and overcome so much and keep being resilient and keep walking by faith. And my validation doesn't come from any external source. No other person, nobody else but me. She was like, wow. I was like, and you deserve that. I said, you deserve someone who treats you well, but I can tell you grew up seeing trauma and abuse, and that's why you are allowing this. And then, she started to cry, and she's like, yeah, I watched my mom. I said, you watch your mom put up with bullshit? That's why you doing it? She's like, how did you know? I said, well, I can feel it. Plus, I did the same thing in my younger years. This is how I'm able to provide people with clarity and healing and alignment. You can't do that unless you've done the work to heal. So, like I said, I hope my DzPeepz, my day ones, that y'all know I haven't forgotten about y'all. Life has just been lifing, and I've been going through a lot of different transitions, specifically the medical transition. So I appreciate the prayers. I appreciate anybody who chooses or wants to support as I go through this. And I appreciate that y'all miss me, because I miss y'all too. That's why this live is just me talking. Because it's been a minute since I've gone on here and just really talked with y'all. And I figure, well, I'm up. Might as well chop it up with y'all. So I appreciate y'all. Keep y'all posted. Like I said, the international performance event is towards the end of June. So my prayer continues to be that my surgical procedure that's scheduled for the beginning of next month, that it goes well, so that I can go and sing and perform live at this event. It is here in Houston. But like I said, it's going to be streamed on pay-per-view. I got to look at the platforms again. I know it was pay-per-view. I think they said Hulu, Amazon, of course, YouTube as well, but it's like major international platforms. And then he said that I think it's going to be streamed in like Dubai, the UK, New Zealand. It's like a bunch of other countries where this talent show is going to be broadcast in. That's why it wasn't in alignment for me to go to the Blue Couch performance in April. And then considering what did end up happening with the business associate, I'm actually really glad I didn't go, because a lot of that would have been tied to that person. And so even then I was like, I feel like God has something bigger for me. And again, shout out to Real Life Jeff and the Blue Couch performances. They both follow me on Instagram and have reshared the video that I edited for that event content. So I appreciate them. But this performance is going to allow me to be known internationally on platforms you normally have to pay to get on. And it's a compensated event. So I'm speaking healing, abundance, and favor over my life, over my body, over all of this, so that I can accomplish the goals and dreams that I've set for myself while I'm still happily single, so that I can say that I brought myself my success, not a man that I was dating or fucking or none of that. That I accomplished this against all odds. My resilience, my faith accomplished and manifested this. That is what I want to be able to tell the world and my future children. So, family, I love y'all. I appreciate all of you. Shout out to everybody in the chat, especially my day ones, my good brother Andrew, Purple Flower, Gemini, and I have missed my DzPeepz. So I'm going to try to do more lives like this where I just get on and talk. And y'all know if I'm tired, I'm not getting on camera. I'm just not. Honestly, I barely get on camera on TikTok because, again, my body is going through a lot. So I don't be feeling like being on camera and I look and feel all extra tired. But I definitely have not forgotten about my DzPeepz on my YouTube. I thank all of you who have stayed on this channel and have been loyal. I appreciate all of you who have supported me. Thank you. Thank you for supporting this platform. And thank you for your energy. Definitely, Andrew, I appreciate your energy, especially you always leave comments after the lives and on different videos of mine. It means a lot. So thank you. So I'll be back soon. Y'all stay up. Please use my life as an example of walking by faith. Don't give up. Your current situation is not your destination, even if it feels like it's not getting better. That's just God testing your patience. Again, that scripture, let patience have her perfect work. It's not always easy to do, but it is possible. So I will talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day, family. Love y'all.